And there we go, we are live, hopefully. Hopefully you can now hear me. I did the usual, I forgot to turn on my mic pack. I don't use wireless mics all week, so when I use a wireless mic on the weekend, it really does throw me. So there we go. Is it working? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Excellent stuff. It would appear to be working. O'Reilly says, we can hear your lovely voice. I must have some filters on. There you go. Excellent stuff. So make sure the overhead's working. Yep, that appears to be working okay. Yep, that's fine. Streaming desktop. Yep, that is working also. Excellent stuff. Back to the main camera. I am getting to grips with my new Stream Deck. So this was a very, very generous gift from a good friend and all-round good guy, Colin Hilton. Thank you very much. It was much appreciated. So I now have my 6-button version over on my editing PC, which is actually really helpful over there. But now I've got more buttons to play with, which is excellent. So I can mute. Did that work? Someone let me know, did that work? Hopefully that has worked. Potentially it is. Hey, ClickTech Kev, how you doing, Kev? Long time no see. Muted, so that did work. Excellent. Carl G, good evening, Mike, and good evening, Kath. Testicles, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes, it worked. Excellent. It is working, and that's working. The coin drop's working. And we can put links into the chat. Oh, why is that not working? You swine. The Stream Deck is supposed to be one of the easiest things in the world to set up, but for some reason it hasn't. Why has it not done that? Why has that not worked? I have no idea. I'm gonna have to look into that. The links were working previously, so I don't know why they are not now. Let's have a look. Stream Deck.
Don't hiss at me. You're on my keyboard.
Flame, chill.
He's trying to type
So
messages.
CD keys, accounts, yeah, that's the one. Latest stream.
I knew you'd do this.
I don't know why that doesn't work. Oh, because there's no message in there for CD keys or Discord or the desk pad. They've all disappeared. Oh well. I did set it all up. I seem to have done something a little bit wrong. Charles Barr says, Mike, your tabletop is dirty. It's not dirty, it's just wrecked. This is all chips, it's not dirt. I can't get rid of it. That's why I normally have a mouse mat. And in fact, I should get my mouse mat out actually. Bear with me a moment. I did forget about that. Unroll it and make sure there's no spiders in it. Excuse me. Oh, where's my monitor suddenly gone dark? Oh, because I pressed the screenshot button. Excellent stuff. So that is working. There, you can't see my quite so dirty desk now, or quite so damaged desk. There. Right, so yeah, it's all good. It's bloody warm in here. It is very, very muggy. We're supposedly going to be getting some rain and maybe some thunder, so it's got really muggy all of a sudden. 25 degrees in here, no air conditioning, so it kind of is what it is. And I've just realised the top chat is in the wrong place. It's not working. Hang on a second. I must have pressed a button, which I didn't need to do. Okay, top chat. No, I want to see all live chat. Thank you very much. I spent ages today configuring that Stream Deck and now it's not working. That's somewhat upsetting. Oh well. I'll get to grips with it at some point. I can't believe the links have gone. Why is that gone? Oh well. Rick H says, I love rain and thunder. I don't mind it. I'm actually working in the shop tomorrow, as I normally do on a Sunday. So I'm actually praying for an absolute ton of rain. So lots and lots of rain, really bad weather, gusty wind, so that people don't want to go out of their house. So I can just basically not have to do things in the shop. That'd be great. Yeah, I can answer technical questions at work. I also getting paid for it. Excellent stuff. Yeah, so thunder cats.
Our cats don't mind.
Rasher says, I wish I could type without looking at a keyboard. Yeah, I've always wanted to be able to touch type. I can a little bit. There's some words I can kind of memorise. My typing's awful. Sausage fingers, as I blame.
What was it you wrote earlier?
I put an and or something, didn't I? Where it shouldn't have been.
Oh yeah. But
Blue
you
and.
put Bumble, didn't you? Bumble.
Oh yeah.
Bubblegum pink.
Bubblegum pink, because I was confusing bubblegum pink and Bumblebee, and I kind of amalgamated the two.
But that's more of a concentrating, checking.
Anyway, hopefully you're all well. It is Saturday the, I don't know what date it is because my watch doesn't say that anymore. Is it the 31st?
Yeah.
Jeez, it's September tomorrow. Is that? Yeah, that's right, isn't it? September?
Yeah.
Gee, summer's over. Officially, I think.
Is it? I thought summer started in July. August is September.
Or maybe September's summer as well.
Or is it?
It's a little bit autumnal, isn't it? Anyway, whatever it is, it sucks. We haven't really had a summer. It's just been like bland.
It's been winter all year round.
Autumn all year round with a little bit of winter thrown in for good measure.
Spring, maybe.
Shane over in Australia says it's September now for me. Wow. I think actually, talking about typing, O'Reilly said that I can type without looking at a keyboard. I think it's because I use so many different keyboards on a daily basis, and also I swap them relatively frequently, so you kind of, I guess you lose the muscle memory a little bit, especially if you go from like a 75% to a full size, then down to a 60%. Is quite hard. Although I suppose the keys are still in the same place, so you should be able to do it.
Typewriter to another, didn't they, in the olden days?
John Davis Sutton says, hi Kath, we'll return as a member soon. No worries, and you don't have to, it's fine. Memberships are optional. If you've got a little bit of spare cash and you want to throw it our way, you're more than welcome to do so, and we do very much appreciate it. And actually, speaking of members, there will be some of, well, not all of you, but some of you will be getting the new Mike's Unboxing pen, which has just been hot off the press. I'll give you a close-up of this actually. I'm pretty proud of these. These are pretty cool, at least I think they are. I can't tell if that's in focus because I left the other window on top. Silly arse. There we go. Is that visible? Can you actually see that? You probably can't because I'm blocking the light now as well. So there we go. It's a Mike's Unboxing pen. And also it has a built-in light. So you can see your small connections on your cases. And on the end there is a stylus as well. So you can use it on tablets and anything which may be touch operated. There you go. Mike's Unboxing pen. And inside, obviously, it is also a pen as well. Potentially could double up as a dart or a bullet, possibly.
Charles Ballard, whose birthday is on Wednesday,
There we go.
said it looks like something an alien would use to probe you.
It is an anal probe, potentially. So yeah, we've had a bunch of those done, so we'll be trying to send out some of those shortly. It will take us a while because there's a lot of you. The channel is growing, so it's, yeah, could be a little bit of a long drawn out process, but we'll see what we can do. Deathstroke says, that's a sexy beast and the pen's not bad either. Thank you very much. Paul Lamont says, nice pen. Thank you. It's pretty cool. They were, I'm not going to say they're cheap, but they weren't ridiculously expensive. And the previous pens we did didn't have our logo on, not properly. And also, actually that one, it looks a bit smudged actually, the printing. Anyway, regardless, it says youtube.com/Mike's Unboxing. So if you ever forget, this was the original, the Mark 1 version. So this is the new refined edition. So yeah, I think it's a bit nicer, and it's got our colours more so, whereas that was just like, right, what is the closest I've got to something being blue, which isn't that close, but it was kind of bluish. But yeah, these are much nicer. So we will endeavour to get those sent out to some of you in the foreseeable. If there's any left over, we might offer them up as gifts or for sale or something. I don't know. We'll let you know. Mark Berry says we need a few more likes. That would be very nice also. James says if this was Linus Tech Tips, they'd bang a logo on it and it would be 50 quid. Yeah, very much so. If it was a screwdriver, for sure, it'd be 3 digits for, well, easily. So tonight's stream, Viali says, how do we get a pen mic? We're not entirely sure at the moment. It's going to probably end up being, if you've been a Patreon supporter, then it's very likely you'll get one. If you've been a YouTube member for at least 12 months, that's normally the kind of cut-off point, you'll probably get one, most likely. The other thing, well, some of the people that have like contributed to the channel but aren't members or what, so people who've done lots of comments or been around for a long time, or I don't know, yeah, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be a hard thing to do because there's only a limited number of pens for this initial batch. We probably will order another lot. So when these are kind of done, if you haven't had one, it's not because there's any reason why you didn't deserve one or whatever, it's just purely a numbers thing. And also it'll be things like, quite often, especially for Patreon and YouTube members, getting in contact with you sometimes is a little bit difficult. So we may have tried to send you an email to the email address you've got registered. And if you either haven't received it or it's gone in your spam or something, then obviously we can't send out to you until we've confirmed your current address for posting. So yeah, all that come into it as well. And I see Rasher has just got in there with his member for 35 months supporter badge. So yeah, Rasher, I think it's pretty safe to say that you'll be on the list. Which seems a little bit kind of mercenary, but it will be some other people as well which have helped us out in various other ways that maybe don't even watch the YouTube channel. So it's yeah, it's not one of those things, it's not like a pay to win thing really. It's just if you've been like super helpful, we'll do what we can. We're not made of money, obviously. We struggle to get by, as do most people, but we do like to try and give people a little something back where we can. So anyway, we'll address that in the game. There probably will be another batch of those coming out. Mohammed, I was updating the BIOS and the power went out, which some of you probably will suffer from tomorrow with these thunderstorms. If you are updating a BIOS and the power went out, can it be fixed? If you've got a motherboard with USB BIOS flashback, it's very possible. If for some reason it was flashing at the point where the BIOS flashback module was being updated, then you might be in a whole world of trouble. But if you've got a USB flashback, you should be able to do it. If you haven't, some motherboards will allow it via just putting a USB in a certain slot and doing a certain either key press or reset button hold and power button. Those are a rarity, but potentially it could happen. So without knowing your exact motherboard, it's very hard to say 100% if it can be recovered or not. But we have done it previously where we've had MSI motherboards and we've started the flash and I've deliberately pulled the cable out to basically brick the board halfway through and then recovered it by just doing the USB flashback again. I think one of the boards I did it on it took 2 attempts, but you should be able to recover it in theory. Possibly, maybe. I'm not giving definitives. Viali says, yeah, and see if your motherboard has a dual BIOS. Some boards do. Generally, motherboards, it's mostly gigabyte boards that have a dual BIOS. I think there were some Asus ROG boards as well, some of the high-end ones did. Normally, with those sort of boards, it's not a matter of like flicking a switch as it used to be years ago. You could move a physical pin jumper or a switch to enable a separate BIOS. Normally now, if a BIOS gets corrupted, the dual BIOS thing will automatically kick in, revert back to the previous saved BIOS, and it's almost seamless. You wouldn't notice it. So I'm going to say you haven't got that because otherwise you probably wouldn't have got to the point where your board's dead. It should have recovered itself.
We do super chats?
Let's do the super chats. Get those out of the way. Ooh, there we go. Blinded. Let's scroll back up. We did have a super chat come in earlier. Oh no, I haven't got it on my screen now. It was from Mick Woods. Mick Woods,
You can click on something, didn't you?
go to channel. Yeah, no, I can't. No, if I click on it, it won't go to it. Mick Woods says, good evening, Mike, Kath, and all Mubsters. Looking forward to Saturday night live stream. Now, where did I put those beers? Oh, they're still in the fridge. See you soon. Enjoy your beers, Mick. And thank you for the super chat.
That's what I meant. Can you actually read it?
I can read, yeah, I can go back
that's
into
right.
viewer activity, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Viali says, my Asus board has 2 buttons on board. That's probably one for reset and one for BIOS flash, possibly, or on off. I don't know.
Should we give Rasha the lights?
Yeah, go on, let's give Rasher the likes as well for being a member. Let's click on it. Did that actually work? And that's come up? Yeah. Rasher says it comes up saying a new member, but I don't know why it comes up. I don't understand YouTube. I really don't. Oh, and speaking of not understanding YouTube, for some of you this week, and possibly since, well, actually almost 2 weeks now, so we've had a weird problem with YouTube in the comment system. So normally how it works is if you post a comment on a video, as in a new comment, like starting a fresh thread, we get an email come through.
You get an email, it comes up on your comments.
I get email as well.
List.
Yeah, or it comes up on the comments list, so it's really easy to find.
Yeah.
If you reply to, if say for instance, then I reply to you, and then you reply back, I would then get an email come in on my Gmail account saying reply from blah blah blah, or it comes in from YouTube and says there is a new reply on this video from such and such, and it gives you like a brief outline. You can click on it to go into it to read it, etc. But for some reason there's something broken on my Gmail account and I have not been getting those. Now I have had a couple of them come in today because I have been in contact with Google to try and get it rectified. So if you have left a comment on a video, possibly even a new one, and I haven't replied for some reason, we generally do try to reply to all new fresh comments because they're easy to see. And replies we do get around to generally, not always, but if I get the email come in and I click on it, I can see it, and if it's something like an answer, I will do. If it's just like you saying, oh, thanks or something, I might leave a heart on it or something, but I might not reply. But essentially, we've not been getting those. It seems to be getting fixed. So again, if I've not replied to a comment you've left and you've asked a question and I've started answering it, then all I say is send a fresh comment on the video. That way I will definitely get to see it. In general, if you ever want a reply, start a fresh ticket. If you go into one of those long threads, it kind of all gets left in the weeds and it's hard for me to find them quite often. So do leave a new comment on a video and we'll try and answer you as quickly as we can. Yeah, there we go. William Bodie, hi Mubsters, just got home from work. How you doing?
Says, where is Bob?
Where is Bob? Now, funnily enough, actually, I've left Bob 2 messages on Discord, directly messaged, and he didn't answer for about 2 weeks. He said previously he was doing a job somewhere where limited access to the internet, etc. So, okay, whatever. So I was just checking in to make sure he was okay. I had a message back on Thursday, I think it was, saying that the job's coming to the end. No, actually, I think it was earlier than that. And he said the job's coming to an end, so should be coming home Thursday, Friday. I've not heard anything over the weekend, so maybe long flights or I don't know, whatever. Debriefing time. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he should be back anytime now. So we'll keep our eyes and ears open. And yeah, if you see him, say hello to Bob. He's been away for a long time. Seems like a long time. Was it 2 months? Maybe even longer than that. Not too sure. Anyway, well, as far as I know, he's okay. And he'll be with us when he can. Erwin says, hey Mike, please give advice. How do you clean a monitor, particularly a screen? Do I need to use some specific equipment? You can get away with using most cleaning products on a monitor. Now, the safest way to do it is with a new, clean, fresh microfiber cloth, which looks very much like... Oh, I've left it over there because I cleaned my monitor earlier. So this is actually a gift from my son for Christmas. So a nice microfiber cloth. This is from the Pixel brand. So if you look up on Amazon, look for Pixel Cleaning, or Pixel Perfect, I think it's called. You can get this. So this is a specific streak-free, odor-free, natural formulation with no chemicals and safe for all screens. So you can look for products which say on them safe for all screens. There are some that you can get which are in the automotive industry, such as Winds do a dash and display cleaner. That one's really good, but this one I find to be actually excellent. So you just spritz it on, give it a light coating, and then take your clean microfiber.
There is a monitor there.
And yeah, there is a monitor here, just in case you're wondering. I'm not just doing it on anything. So yeah, you can give it a wipe over. Most of the ones which are TFT or LCD panel rated, they will have some element of like alcohol in them, but it's a specific type which is, I don't know, it's denaturalized or something along those lines. Basically, it's designed so that it won't damage the plastic film on your screen. If you haven't got this, again, microfiber cloth is always your friend. I would just get some like dishwashing soap, hot water, clean the rag or the microfiber underneath the tap with the soapy water, and then wring out as much as you possibly can until there's no bubbles or suds or anything. So it's just a nice clean but slightly warm and slightly damp cloth, and just give it a wipe over. That'll be as good as anything, and that works for pretty much anything. So PC cases, exteriors, monitors, the surround of the monitor, all that sort of stuff. You can use just a microfiber cloth is generally the best, because they do tend to pick up all the small bits of lint and stuff like that. But if it's a fresh microfiber cloth, probably worth giving it a wash first of all, just in case there is a little bit of lint and soft fluff and what have you on there. Otherwise you'll find that when you clean it, you leave more fluff on there. No, generally it's like a brushed cotton. Or nylon, probably a nylon blend as well. Not sure, but yeah, ideally if you can, cotton is good. Microfibers are pretty much designed for this purpose. But anyway, yeah, so that is Pixel Perfect. It's good gear. I don't think it's very cheap, but it lasts for ages. Like, I've been using this since Christmas, and it's basically already gone down to about there from the top. So this will last years. I think this is about 8 to 10 quid for the set. Again, this stuff's going to last you forever. It is Mike's Unboxing Blue as well, so that is pretty cool. Yes, Kath.
There's two, Dutch Jan and
Dutch Jan, anyone experience with the new Outlook? Can't get my second email to work. Online, everything else just works. I think that is actually a restriction in the new Outlook. If you're using the one which is built in to Windows 10 and Windows 11, the kind of basically what is the replacement for Outlook Express, I think it is limited to one account, or at least one IMAP account. So that potentially might be a restriction of the new software. You can, if you want to, you can remove it and you can get the old one back. If you're talking about Outlook as in the one that comes with Office, I'm not too sure. I use that on my PCs because I've got 4 or 5 different email accounts. So I do like to use Outlook, the app, to switch between the accounts. Yes.
Barry Cartwright, I think it was.
Barry Cartwright. Let's have a look. Where's Barry Cartwright?
I got that wrong. No, it's alright. Go up a bit more. Right,
Oh, it's older, is it?
Right, SATA ports.
Barry Cartwright, there you go. Hi, one of my SATA ports on my motherboard came off. Is it easy to replace? What type do I need to buy? Ooh, a SATA port on a motherboard. That sounds pretty drastic. Let me have I've got a board here I can quickly grab and I'll have a look. But that sounds generally like not a great thing. Is it just the plastic that's come off, or is it the metal connectors as well? That sounds pretty hardcore. I can't believe I still got this board actually. It's completely dead. Well, it's not completely dead, but it's mostly dead. So yeah, I suppose you're gonna have to work out whether or not if it's a SATA port like one of these, which is like kind of the single ports, or whether it's the dual ports on there. Soldering wise, that's really small soldering. It's possible. I wouldn't do it. I would struggle with that. But I wouldn't imagine. I would imagine for some people it's going to be quite a straightforward thing to do. But for me personally, I would not really attempt it.
You'd need to be very good at soldering.
You would need to be good at soldering. I would probably kind of cut my losses and maybe just get a PCI Express card with some SATA ports in if you need them that desperately. Otherwise, yeah, soldering wise, doesn't look easy. I guess it is doable because people have done it, but yeah, doesn't sound particularly easy. Well, it doesn't look easy. You have to excuse me if my brain starts wandering. I had a particularly bad night's sleep last night and most of this week through, actually let me put this on first, hang on. I was planning to get this motherboard up and running, but I don't think it's ever going to work. But I don't want to throw it in the bin. Right. Matthew says, yeah, be careful if the monitor is a soft one, or maybe if it's even touchscreen. Raj D has become a member for 1 month. Says, hi Mike, Kath and all in chat. Hello and welcome, and thanks for becoming a member. Much appreciated. Yeah, Adamant IT. If you've got a motherboard with that, you might be able to send it into him. You might be able to do it on the channel. Whether or not he'll charge you for it, I don't know, but that seems like the sort of thing I think which would be right up his alleyway. Definitely worth a try. Oh yeah, you can also get M.2 to SATA if your board is still working. Yeah, that might be worth a look as well. Rick H says, I had that happen to the USB 3 port on my motherboard. Just carefully put the plastic connector back on. Yeah, if the pins are still on the board, you might be able to get the plastic connector back on without too much damage. F said, says, hey Mike, I have a question. I have an AIO. I'm sure I didn't install it properly. My idle temp whilst watching you and Discord is 46.1. CPU temp is that chill as it doesn't impact my game. Well, 46-degree idle isn't entirely unheard of. At the moment, I would imagine my PC, even though it's streaming at the moment, it's probably running about 50 degrees. Background tasks and stuff like that. Most processors these days, unless you've got exotic water cooling like a 360 or bigger, then you're probably going to be looking at about 35 degrees, like about 10 degrees over the ambient temperature in general, unless you've got your fan set to full blast, which most people won't. Yeah, try looking actually, someone said there, yeah, Tony Ward says, is the sticker still on it? So the AIO pump will have a plastic protective sticker, normally it's clear. You might have left that on. There's Joseph84. How you doing, Joseph84? And he has just become a supporter as well. Thank you for helping support the channel. It's much appreciated. And welcome.
Do you think we should do one for Raj because we didn't do it?
Yeah, go on. Let's give Raj the. Let's give him the business as well. There you go, Raj. You get your RGB lights. Did that come up? Yeah, there you go. Thank you for supporting the channel. You're lovely people, all of you. Well, most of you. F says no, I took it off, I'm sure of it. It could be down to mounting pressure. The only way really, I would suggest if you haven't already, get yourself some thermal paste, or some, if you've got some left from your installation. Maybe worth taking the actual cooler off, just examine it, just make sure that the paste has made good contact all around. Other than that, if it's an AIO, you might find that you've got the pump set too low. That is possible. If you've got it onto a PWM header and it's DC controlled or vice versa, it might not be spinning as fast as it needs to, so you might even have it connected on the wrong headers, so worth checking out the fan speeds and the AIO pump speed. Make sure that's running nice and fast. Yeah, what CPU is it actually? We never asked that. Tony Ward says AMD runs a little warmer than Intel. Funny enough, I've done my update today. There's another update for my Asus motherboard for my video editing system, which was problematic last time, which made the system really, really unstable. As some of you have probably already seen that video, and seen some of the comments, which are quite interesting. But I actually did another update today, which is the newer updated version of the beta version. And it does seem that the CPU is running hot, and it does seem that the voltages are actually considerably higher than they were previously for some reason. So I've got to tweak that a little bit, but that is running quite warm, at least warmer than what it was. FZ says, I'm actually scared to do it. It was such a hard installation. The Arctic Freezer 3 is truly a terrible design. Yeah, a lot of people have said that, and there is been a lot of people talking about the difficulty of installation and also getting the correct mounting heights. So that could be what your problem is there. It's funny because a lot of the tech media are all raving about the Arctic Freezer 3 being it's so good, it's so cheap, and it works so well. Sponsored by, yeah. But yeah, I don't see it. I've not got one purely based on some of the early reviews I've seen already where people have struggled to install them, and for maybe 1 or 2 degrees better than the Freezer 2 range, which was not that easy to install, but appeared to be easier. I think these days, as much as I hate to say it, if you're looking for a very, very cost-effective AIO, the Thermaltake range have pretty much got all the bases covered. And in fact, that is the reason why I'm building this PC tonight, is because I've got 2 AIOs to test. Let me quickly show you those actually, because we might as well get back on track to what we're supposed to be doing. And I might get this finished before I go to bed. You never know. Although, spoiler alert, although it's not really a spoiler, for those of you that are expecting to see a fully built, fully finished system this evening, that won't be happening because I'm not installing the CPU cooler because, well, 2 reasons. I actually have to do the unboxing on this one. So this is the Thermaltake Frozen Prism 240 Black ARGB. Very, very cost-effective AIO cooler. This, at the moment, retails for about £50. 45 to 50 pounds. If you go for the 360 version, it's about £2 or £3 more expensive. So if you've got the room, get the 360 version, because obviously you get more cooling power, you get an extra fan, cracking value for money. The 240 I don't think is quite as good value comparatively. This I feel needs to be about £40, but it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, nice bit of kit. I bought that myself. And also we have got somewhere, where is it? We've got a slightly more upmarket version of a similar principle. So this is the Thermaltake TH280 V2 Ultra EX ARGB sync. Possibly the longest name I've ever had for an AIO. So this has got the pump head with the LCD display. You've got the new magnetic fans with the new pads on there, all that kind of stuff. This is a 280 as well, so a little bit more cooling power. So yeah, this is kind of like the exact opposite end of the spectrum. So this is pretty pricey for what it is, but you're paying for the screen, you're paying for the fans. It's generally a quality bit of kit. So that is the idea behind kind of some of the videos I'll do. So I'll do just a normal review of this one, normal review of the other one, and then I'll do like a kind of a roundup comparing the two and looking at the differences price wise, installation, all that kind of stuff. I think obviously with this one, because it has got the digital display on there which shows things like your temperature or weather, other system stuff, this kind of has a slight edge, because if you want that, then it's worth paying the extra money to have it integrated into the system. But if you just want a simple all-in-one cooler, then obviously the Thermaltake one is a really, really good choice. Anyway, so that is the kind of the reason behind why we're doing this build.
Can you go back to FZ Sakali?
Yes, FZ.
What is the
FZ.
roughly be? I think it was.
FZ. Memory. What is the perfect RPM for the radiator? Well, for the fans themselves, I would say it's hard to say, but for the actual radiator and the water pump, I would hit it to the maximum. Just set it to like 100%. If it's too noisy or it makes a bit of a whine, maybe drop it down to 80% and have like a gentle curve going up to 100 as it gets warmer. Did he say what processor it was? No. Not yet.
If you go down to
Oh.
Sakali, and then you've got another from Mitch. And I think
Zucali says, yeah, I'm also running the Asus 13600K and my temps also fluctuate a lot while just browsing, but when I'm gaming, they're much more stable. Yeah, that is very cool. The thing is with the new updates for Intel, it seems that previously it was quite stable. You could get it to idle and it would idle at quite a low wattage as well, and temperatures, right? Mine was around like 32 to 35 degrees, maybe about, I don't know, 7 to 15 watts. Whereas now it's idling around about kind of high 30s, mid 40s, up to the 50s, and is using like 15 to 30 watts. So there's definitely something not quite right about what Intel have done for the motherboards. But yeah, that's the price of progress, unfortunately. Lucky Man says, I'm happy with my Thermaltake 360, works brilliantly. Yeah, they're really good. Very, very good competition on the market, I think. FZ says, I'm glad you guys are so helpful and actually give great answers. Well, I don't know about great answers, but at least you'll get answers. At least you'll get a variety of answers. This is one of the best tech channels and communities ever. Bless you. That's very kind of you to say. We try. But the thing is, we're just normal people. I'm just a normal bloke in front of a camera. I'm nothing... I've not been put in a position of power, if you see what I mean. Just me. With 6 cats, 2 kids and a wife. Rasher says, Thermaltake are amazing value. RGB fans for around €4. They're starting to creep up a little bit. Some of the import tariffs are starting to kick in a bit and things are starting to get a bit more pricey. But they have been very good prices. They still maintain pretty good. The 3 switch keeps nice and cool if I ramp up the fans while still being very quiet even at 75%. It's taking over 150 watts in Cyberpunk after the update. That's Jan. Question, are they also available in 280s? The Thermaltake ones don't seem to be, no. They seem to be, I think that is part of why they do what they do. Because they generally tend to target segments of the market which are either extremely saturated or have a lot of potential customers. So in the AIO market, they generally tend to focus on 240s and 360s, which is obviously a good idea because 420s, not many cases are going to fit a 420mm AIO. 280s, again, are a little bit of a niche thing because you need the width in the case, which again, not all cases are going to have that option. Most cases these days are pretty focused on 120mm fans, so yeah, you're going to struggle with that. And of course the smaller ones like the, I don't think 140s really exist, but definitely 120mm AIOs are somewhat pointless unless you've got an SFX system or are extremely restricted on space. So yeah, by them focusing on what actually sells to the mass market, 240s and 360s, it's a really good decision because they don't have to worry about making a lot of different products which may end up sitting on shelves or sitting in warehouses, wherever, losing the money. At least with the 240s and 360s, it's pretty much a guaranteed sell from most people. Zakali says, sounds familiar, yes, 36 to 51 degrees is weird. Yeah, it does, it's very kind of spiky.
Did you do Mitch?
Mitch, no. What?
It's highlighted at Mike's unboxing.
Oh, hang on. Mitch, hello, how you doing, Mitch? My new power supply stopped the PC from rebooting. Then last night in a StreamYard hangout with some Chrome crashed and your start menu isn't working error. Oh dear. So close. Mitch, I'm not sure if you do have this already, but have you got a surge protector? Or like an extension strip running to your PC? Sometimes in weird situations, those can be problematic as well and cause problems with your PC. So if you have got one of those, maybe try changing it for a newer, better one, or try just having your PC plugged directly into a wall socket, or use a single extension lead and run it to another socket somewhere else in the house. Sometimes it can be electrical gremlins. You might even end up needing to get a UPS unit to kind of smooth out the power. Worth checking. We've had a few people in the past that have had that, where they've had really weird problems with their PC, and they've almost changed out every single component, and then they bought a UPS or changed the surge protector or plugged it into a different room, and it's absolutely fine. So you might even find this down to your home electronics or electrical system. So definitely worth taking a look at.
There was somebody
Wow.
asking.
Lots of questions tonight.
Yeah.
Matthew Day says, good selection of Thermaltake tower coolers as well. Yes,
Somebody asked about
way too many.
Deep cool. Oh no, deep CPP. Is that?
Deep CPP, is that a name?
Yeah. Deathstroke. I don't know. It might be Dick. Gamax A10 or a decent tower cooler.
I'm not sure where. Who's that from?
Deathstroke.
Is that underneath the
It's
matches?
up. I know,
Oh,
that one.
next one. No,
Sorry, I've lost where I am.
confused
Just under
myself.
Mitch. The one that you did with Mitch.
Sorry about this. I'm trying to catch up with that. New Deathstroke Zoran. No, I can't see it properly.
So where Mitch is, yeah.
What was the question? Oh yeah, Deathstroke Zoran. Question: Deep CCP,
I think it's maybe.
GameMax AIO or decent tower cooler? I don't know. You've got a really bizarre selection there. So Deep Cool, they're okay. GameMax AIOs, again, they're okay, but they probably don't compete as well as the Thermaltake ones, to be completely honest with you. Or a decent tower cooler. A decent tower cooler, depending on the processor, will do a pretty decent job, and a lot of the better ones will be somewhere in the region of what a 240mm AIO will do. So it really does depend on the CPU. If it's anything under probably like a 13600 or maybe a Ryzen 7, no, maybe like a 5600 or 5700, anything there or under, a tower cooler is going to be absolutely fine. Some of the more high-end processors will be okay with a tower cooler, but it just depends what you want. For me personally, I do like the ability with an AIO for it to just soak up that initial spike. So even though the CPU temperature might be spiking, you're not getting your fans ramping up because there's enough thermal mass to kind of absorb it temporarily before the fans then kick in and start getting louder all the time. So yeah, it depends really what you want. I personally think like the Thermaltake 240s or 360s, if you're on a budget and you're trying to compare a decent tower cooler with an AIO, those are what you want to be looking at.
Jason Woodsoff.
Cheers, Jason.
And it's a deep cool.
It was Deep Cool, yeah, cool.
Deep cool Gamax 240 AIO versus decent tower. 5800.
Got it. Right, if you've got a 5800X, you need an AIO really. Unless you want to get a really nice big tower cooler, which is probably going to cost roughly the same as a mid-range AIO. So yeah, I would go with a Thermaltake, what was it? I can't remember what it's called now. What did I say it was called? Frozen Prism. Get one of the Frozen Prisms, the 240 or the 360, you'll be good to go. You won't regret it.
Musical fan. Yeah, Bob.
Pete Elman's in the chat, says hello Mike and Kath. How you doing? Musical fan, is the SMPS cable length of 24-pin cable, what's the SMPS? I don't know what that is. Musical fan, is this... Yeah, I'm not sure what that's... Is the cable length for the 24-pin cable and CPU power cable standard for every brand? or different brands have different lengths. Yeah, different brands have different lengths. They are slightly standardized. So the EPS one normally is about 600mm, maybe 550. The 24-pin power is generally somewhere between kind of 450 and maybe 550, depending on the power supply. Normally the EPS is a little bit longer to make up for the fact it's got a stretch to the top of the motherboard. But yeah, I've reviewed quite a few different power supplies from different brands and they are all slightly different.
And Mitch has replied.
Mitch says, I am direct outlet now. I had to do it in a place to reinstall last night to fix start menu error. Took MSI 4060 out and just using onboard AMD GPU, ruling out MSI GPU. Fair enough. Let me know how you get on. Matt today says, yeah, you can always get extensions for power connections. That's absolutely right, you can. And they're not that expensive these days, quite cheap. David Underhill says, I don't get the whole massive tower cooler thing at all. AIO is usually better and obtrusive. I think you mean unobtrusive, maybe. I don't know.
You could tell David Underhill you used your printer.
Yeah, I did use the 3D printer this week, for those of you that are interested. So, next door neighbour, they've got a Flymo, which is, I'm not sure, I think it's the Compact 330 from memory. It's been about 7 years since we've used ours. But they have a little clip that goes on the top like a tool. So it's got like a hex wrench and a scraper and something for removing like debris. And our neighbours lost the tool for theirs. So I had a quick look on the, where did I look? I think it's on Printables, and someone had a Flymo tool. So it was really trite. It was really tight because it's quite a long tool. So trying to fit it on the bed of my printer was really hard work. So I had to kind of move it around very slightly, and then also I had to print supports for it. And long story short, yeah, got it to work and give it to the neighbours. So yeah, that was cool. Even though they're only about, I don't know, £5 to buy one, I thought, well, I'll print one out. It's a kind thing to do. Rick Welly Bob says 123,000 subs, Mike and Calf. Thank you very much. Yes, I know. I'm looking forward. I want a screenshot when it goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which might even be tomorrow. I don't think it'll be today.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 9.
Oh, it's not far off. Yeah, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 9. So yeah, I hope it doesn't happen when we're sleeping. Otherwise, I'll have to get a load of you to unsubscribe so I can see it. But I do want to see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because the next one that we get like that will be 1.2 million. That's a little bit far off. So it's kind of Halley's Comet type thing. It's only going to come around a couple of times, and possibly not in your lifetime. Anyway, let's get on with putting this PC together, because I'm absolutely slacking. Now, I was going to do, well, I need to do a BIOS update on it first, so I'm tempted to possibly do a BIOS update and rip out the power cord to see if we can recover it. But it's a 200 quid motherboard, so I'm a little bit hesitant to do that. But let me know in the comments if you want to see me attempt to kill a motherboard and then try to recover the flash. I will do that for you guys, if you ask. But if you say no, it's too risky, don't do it, I won't. I should do a poll, really. But let's see. Let's see what you lot say. Should I risk it to see if we can recover a flash from a bad flash? What are you doing? Photographing me? Why?
Send it to Ashton.
Matthew Day says no. Rick A says no. Rick says don't kill that motherboard. You did this a little while ago too. Andy Archer says no. Do it with a cheap one. My 3D printing this week case. Oh, good, yeah, for a Seagate hard drive. 4 cases for 2.5-inch drives. Awesome. Right, so at the moment everyone's saying no. So I think that's probably the best way. So let's get started.
I hate sleeping next to you with that damp pillow and you cry yourself to sleep.
Yeah, Kath doesn't want to sleep on the wet pillow. But I'm going, no, why did I do that? Why am I so daft? That was a big mistake.
But Tony, I've got no tips for fixing things. I have plenty on how to break stuff. Good job.
Yeah. So motherboard we're doing in this setup, you've probably all seen this before. This is the B650 Tuf Gaming plus Wi-Fi. And actually, I didn't really want to use this board, if I'm completely honest. But at the moment, it's the only AM5 board I've got, which is black, because we're doing obviously in a black case. So I wanted to have black motherboard, black graphics card, black everything really, to be somewhat stealthy. Mitch says, Mike, how can you even stay cool about that, talking about killing a motherboard? I'm freaking out with all the problems I'm having, lol. David Andrews says, Mike, put down your soldering iron and back away from the motherboard. Do what you do best, not what you can't do. Gotcha. Andy Archer says, no RGB. No, there is going to be a lot of RGB. We're definitely going to be having lots of RGB. I do need to do a BIOS flash on this, though. Because this is on an older BIOS now, because I haven't used this in ages. Barry says, I have the Tuf Gaming X670E plus Wi-Fi. Awesome. James Degger says, yes, no drama, please. All right. If you guys don't want drama, we'll attempt to not have any drama. Let's get my USB flash stick.
Are we going to grate cheese on the case, though?
No, we're not. Stick the USB in there. I think my USB drive's on its way out, actually. Right. Actually,
that's my Mobo.
it was really popular, actually. Really popular motherboard. I really like it. So let's. Oh, that's on there. I don't want that one. I want that one. Let's get over here. And let's open up a web browser. Let's go to Asus. Actually, let's do.
AMS Lite?
That is for doing multiple color prints.
By the way, my AMS Lite has been great for the A1 Mini.
Awesome. I kind of regret not getting that really, but for how much I use it, it's probably fine. Right, let's get our BIOS update. Actually, first of all, let's what's on that one? That was my other Tuf Gaming Z790. Actually, have I got? Oh yeah, that's in my other PC. USB drive. Let's format that. Default allocation size FAT32 and start. Yes, thank you very much. So I close that now. So that is our motherboard. So let's go to support. I'll go to drivers and manuals. Oh, actually, no, I'm in the wrong place, am I? That's that one there, isn't it? There we go. Support. Oh, mouse has gone off the screen.
David Underhill's nephew got an A1 Mini and AMS Lite. Missed the whole concept. He got 4 rolls of black for it.
Yeah, because it doesn't print any faster. Right, so this Agisa update is for stability for the 9000 series. I'm surprised they haven't said something about the security vulnerabilities. When's that from? The 7th, so less than a month ago. Alright, okay. So that is the latest version, 3024, so let's download that and we'll save it to the desktop. We'll minimize that, and no doubt it's on the other desktop. Use 2 monitors, they said. It'd be fun, they said. There we go. Let's unzip. Oh no, what am I doing? Double click it. Unzip. And extract all. Why did that not work? Extract all.
Monkey Day says better to delete. You're probably stressing the same area over and over when you format.
That's a good point, actually. So let's get the BIOS. Oh, actually, let's do the renamer. Yeah, run. There we go. So there is our file changed, and we can send that to our USB drive. And there we go. There is our cat file. Excellent stuff. And let's get this back up and running. Where is my screen?
Barry Cartwright is printing a stand for my res pump compo.
Oh, good. Nice. It's always good when you can print something which is actually really useful. I did some number. Actually, I did for this particular PC. Where did I put it? Oh, there they are. Yeah, today I'll print out another couple of GPU support stands. So a pair of them in black, because the ones I did previously were in white. So this is a black PC, so obviously I've worked out now how to change the filament, so I can change colours willy-nilly, which is awesome. So yeah, those are pretty good. And actually you can make these to be quite big. So I think actually on their long...
Screen.
Oh yeah. On the longest extension...
Thanks, Fatty Bob.
Cheers. So yeah, that'll be pretty big.
Are Thermaltake sending you their first monitor to review?
Already did it. I'm Wolfman. Yeah, Thermaltake have had 2 monitors out. I did see that Kit Guru review this week, and it said it's their first monitor, but it's not. It's their second, because they had the 32-inch one to start with, and then they had the 27-inch, and we've reviewed both already months and months ago. It might even been was it last year or was it early this year? Not sure, but yeah, we've been there. I wasn't sure what Kit Guru was on about there. I know it is their first monitor from them, but they made it sound as if it's like this was something new and groundbreaking, but they've been out for ages. No, Irie Wolfman, it's not your fault at all. It was actually quite misleading what Kit Guru were saying to some extent, or at least how they kind of made it come across. So power supply wise, because this is going to have a bit of RGB and also it's black, so we've got a black power supply with RGB. We reviewed this on the channel ages and ages ago, and I've used it every now and then. I think I had it in the PC behind me when I had a black case, which I'm trying to think which one it was. I think this was actually in there at one point. But anyway, so yeah, we've got RGB, PCI Express Gen 5, ATX 3.1 support. It says 3.0, but it's 3.1 as well. Smart fan, and it's got 100% Japanese capacitors for high quality power management. And you've got all the usual stuff. So you've got over voltage protection, under voltage protection, short circuit protection, over current protection, under current protection, over temperature protection. It's basically got them all. And it's completely modular as well, which is nice. And it comes with a 10-year guarantee. Or sorry, it comes with a 10-year warranty, I should say, not a guarantee. There is a significant difference between a warranty and a guarantee. You'd never know it, but there is. There we go. Thermaltake Tough Power GF3 ARGB. This is confusing actually, because not long after these came out, they did the Tough Power GF3. So yeah, there was some confusion about, so is the RGB one got worse components in it? No, it hasn't. It's got the, it's still got good stuff in there, but it's just the way they've named it. You also got a smart fan, and also you've got RGB buttons on the power supply. So you can change the color, change the mode, but if you want to, there is actually a RGB hookup on the bottom, so you can synchronize it with the rest of your system very easily. Which I did show in the video when we did the review on it.
Epic said, what's the difference between a guarantee and a warranty? I don't know what that is.
You'd have to look at it. It's basically legalese. So a guarantee means that it's guaranteed to perform a certain function, whereas a warranty is designed to provide you a replacement should it fail. And under the terms of a guarantee, you can claim certain more basically consumer rights than you can with a warranty. It is very much legalese, but yeah, if someone says it's got a guarantee, they're basically kind of putting themselves on the line a little bit because they are guaranteeing a certain level of service or whatever. Whereas a warranty is basically like, if it fails, we replace it. Right, let's grab some cables. I'm not going to need all of these, but so we're going to want the main power cable for sure. Going to want an EPS and a couple of PCI Express. We'll have a SATA as well, just for good measure, because you never know. Take our addressable RGB cable, and yeah, I think that's it. Did I say CPU? Yes.
Does that power supply come in white?
That is a very good question. I don't know. I believe it did.
If you click on the link, usually Amazon.
Yeah, if you click on the link, Amazon should have both of them.
If they do.
Comes with a 450 watt PCIe Gen 5 high power connector. It's been a funny time, hasn't it, for tech? I think most of it started around about the time when PCI Express Gen 5 connectors came out. That was, I think, a definite turning point of where things started to all go a little bit wrong. And I think since then it's just been one controversy after the other. Stick that in there. I do like to keep all my stuff nice and tidy and organised. I was waiting for Kath to find that vastly amusing. There we go. David Andrew says warranty and guarantee definitions differ in Australia. Warranty is enforced by law, a guarantee isn't. So yeah, there is. Yeah, that's actually a good way. I think that is pretty much what it is here.
You said guarantee was worth more, didn't you?
I think a guarantee is worse for the seller and possibly for the customer as well, if they actually honour it. Dukeman says, did Thermaltake react on the China versus Vietnam production runs? Not that I've heard of. I've not heard anything else mentioned since then, and I've not seen any other tech tubers even kind of go into it in any depth. I was expecting Gamers Nexus to get involved and say something, but if they haven't, I'm guessing there's a good reason why they haven't. I'm not sure why that reason might be, but normally if there's even the kind of the slightest whiff of a controversy, Gamers Nexus are in it like a what's it up a drain pipe.
Matthew Day asked about the prop PC, has it gone?
Prop PC is gone. Yeah, I've not had any feedback from it yet. Whether that's a good thing or not, I'm not entirely sure. Mitch is one of those strange designery types, so you could never quite work out what was going on in his head. Oh, that is the CPU one. I did need another one of those. Oh well, that'll do for now. That'll do, little pig. So bizarrely, yeah, this is it's got a EPS connector, but it's also got a piggyback one as well, which I don't really think that's a great idea. But then you should be able to get about, I don't know, this cabling I think is, if I could see, I can't even read that, what gauge it is. It's a reasonable gauge cable, so it should be able to do about, I don't know, 250 watts pretty easily. Maybe 300 or so. Right, so we only need, obviously, as you've seen numerous occasions before, we only need the EPS and the main power.
Thermaltake react with China versus Vietnam.
We just talked about that.
Oh, sorry.
No. Remember I said Gamers Nexus normally jump in on a thing like that?
Yeah, it's not Mitch in the chat.
No. No, it's not Mitch in our chat at the moment. He has been in the chat previously, I think.
I think he has.
I'm going to electrocute myself.
Bang!
Thanks for that. It's not getting any cooler in here, that's for sure. That window's open as well, but there's no air, is there? It's like my head. There's no hair. Right, 24 pin ATX. And where's the other end of it? There we go. Never quite worked out why they split those. There must be a reason for it, but I have no idea. Okie dokie. Right, where is my USB drive? That is still in here. Oh, press any key to continue. I forgot about that. Shadow it. Let's have that back. Okay, so we're going to put our USB in the BIOS flashback port, which is that one there because it's highlighted. It's got a little thing around it. And let's turn some power on and say a quick prayer. Locate the BIOS flashback button, which is hiding.
Testing the legendary always works flashback flash drive.
1, 2, 3. Did I actually turn that on? Yes, I did. Is there any flashing? I can't see. Oh, it is going. I was expecting the power supply to come on. They don't always come on, so make sure you keep an eye on it. Dexy says, "Love your content. Thanks for the effort that you put in. It helped me a ton." No worries. What was it we helped you on? Was it a BIOS flashback? I'm guessing it probably was. Matthew Day, yeah, testing the legendary always works flashback flash drive, which is kind of. Carl G says Gamers Nexus is on it like a car bonnet. Yeah, it's game. I don't think the Thermaltake kind of controversy. Now, I'm in an awkward position here because I get on really well with Thermaltake and I do like their products and I use them on a regular basis. And I enjoy the privilege of being able to review their products. So that does put me in an awkward position where I am very much slightly kind of more so on the Thermaltake side of the fence when it comes to stuff like this, because I think I said it previously in another stream. Quite often, manufacturers will change components. It's not unheard of. And sometimes it's a necessity, especially if you've got production facilities all around the world. You've maybe got orders in for components with certain other companies and they maybe have got difficulties getting products. So rather than hold up your entire production, and obviously if you're a company such as Thermaltake or Corsair, Deep Cool, whatever it is, obviously you're taking orders months in advance for these components. So anything which holds up that can affect cash flow, and it's just a bad thing. So if you can swap out parts which are not going to overly affect the overall kind of product itself, it's still going to function as intended. You're still going to be able to give it a warranty. It's still going to be able to, in the case of a power supply, kind of be subjected to the loads that are expected of it. Then I personally don't see a huge deal in it. Now, possibly they should turn around and say, okay, we'll maybe call this like a V2 or something, just to give it a slight differential. But motherboard manufacturers have been doing it for years, especially with onboard sound chips. Realtek are really, really well known for having supply issues. So on some motherboards, you'll notice if you go to the documentation page, it will say it's got the ALC RTL, maybe it's got the 829 or the 827 or 823, which are all variations of the same sound card. And they are slightly different, but they are variations. But effectively, it still gives you onboard sound. So it's not a big deal. So I don't know. It's yeah, it's an interesting thing to consider and think about. And I guess it would be nice if manufacturers were more open about these types of things. Obviously, Kingston had issues with this when they started off. I think it was the NV2 flash drive, M.2 drive. That started out with a certain controller, and then they changed the production run. So it used a different controller, which did affect the speeds. Now, in reality, it doesn't affect the kind of everyday use, but if you are kind of doing benchmarks, you may get a slightly different benchmark. So there are some things like that which kind of, yeah, probably needs to be addressed. Who's that?
Candy.
Hey, Candy.
Dexy.
LED still flashing. Good stuff.
Come here. Can you come and say hello? Say hello.
James says, I guess in the long run it's maybe wise to move to fund yourself through gear and stuff. I'm not too sure what that is in relation to. I kind of see what you're going, I think. Coming soon, Gamers Nexus review of a skull shaver. It won't be long. He's going quite grey. I think the cost of his hemioanic chamber, or however you pronounce it, is been a big weight on him. Mark Barry, what did he say? Not see it. Okay. After days is done. Stop flashing. Stop flashing. Stop, Mike. Thank you. Donna. David Underhill says 9.1 degrees feels like 8.1. Heading for a max of 33C. Bloody hell. That's a big difference in temperatures. So the BIOS flash has done. I've got no idea if it has or not, so I'll take your word for it that it's not flashing anymore. And we can turn off the power supply because we're done. I don't know if it's 33 degrees, I doubt it. Thanos says, hey Mike, I've got a question. If I'm going to flash a BIOS, which components should I use and what should I remove from the motherboard? To be honest with you, you can just flash it with a fully built system. I always recommend doing it like on an empty board. Now the reason behind that is because if you're trying to do a BIOS flash, there's a lot of things which can go wrong. So you might have the wrong file, you might have the wrong revision of the motherboard, you might have the wrong USB stick, you might have a USB stick which isn't compatible, you might have renamed the file wrong. There's many things that can go wrong. It might be MBR rather than it might be GPT format on the drive rather than MBR. So there's some loads of things that you can go through. And those are enough to be kind of going on with. If then you've got the thing of, well, maybe I've got a bad CPU, maybe I've got bad RAM, maybe I've got a bad graphics card, maybe my M.2 drive's bad, maybe my cabling's wrong, maybe there's a standoff in the wrong position behind the board. There's so many things which can potentially stop a motherboard from flashing or stop it from booting. So the simplest thing in my mind is just remove every single thing which can potentially be a kind of a misleading diagnosis. So if you've got a completely empty board, or as empty as you can possibly get it, obviously there's a lot less things you have to kind of take into consideration. So if I started doing this flash now and there was a graphics card installed and it didn't flash, the first thing I'm going to do is take the graphics card out. So you might as well do it, if you can, on a bare board. Now if you've got the system built already, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to take it all apart, because that's just a waste of time. You might have to do that if the board's bad anyway, but that's kind of by the by. So that is why I do it on a bare board, just to show people that this is kind of the way it should be done, first of all. But often there's going to be people who are going to do an update many years or months after they've bought the motherboard, the system's been running. Really, you should do the BIOS flash through the BIOS. If you've had a working system and then you do a BIOS flashback because you've changed the processor and it didn't work because you didn't know you had to do an update, then yeah, realistically, probably one of the best things to do is to remove the RAM. If you take out the RAM, then the system can't boot, or at least it will have a bloody hard job doing so. So take out the RAM. That's quite an easy thing to do. If you can take the graphics card out, if it's accessible, do that. CPU and CPU cooler, probably not really worth taking out unless you get to the point where you've removed all the other variables and that it's still not working, in which case the chances are you might have to return the board anyway. So if you have to take the CPU off, you're going to have to take it off anyway to send the board back. So it's just part of that process. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I hope I am. I'm going to grab a drink. That's better. Right, let's get this stuff out of the way. And we can start getting the other stuff done. So we might as well put our M.2 drive on here. So let's give you the overhead camera. And we'll grab an M.2 drive off the shelf. I'm not too sure what is on this one, but no doubt we will find out very soon. You'll notice as well, I've already got the processor installed and also a paste guard. Again, paste guards aren't entirely necessary, but for me, because of swapping out CPUs and possibly kind of selling on motherboards or whatever when I'm done with them, I want to try and keep them as clean as I possibly can so they look like they're, well, looked after and new. So having a paste guard just means it's a little bit less for me to have to clean up. Drive wise, I'm going to go with the Fanxiana. I still can't work out how to pronounce this because I know in Chinese generally the X is pronounced as S. So it's Fanxiana. Yeah, I guess it's something on those lines. Now this system, PCI Express Gen 4, I think this is on top. So we could go with a faster drive if we wanted to, but to be honest with you, the extra price you pay for a faster drive, I don't really think it's worthwhile. If you do, get yourself a nice fast drive, that's entirely up to you, but after a certain point of PCI Express Gen 3 times 4 speeds, it's kind of diminishing returns. If the price is right and you can get a Gen 4 drive for the same sort of price, then obviously, yeah, go for it. But it's not going to be that kind of night and day difference that people kind of are almost expecting to. I've replaced the thermal pads on the back of here because the Asus ones are really good, but they're very oily. And they tend to not leak, but they sort of leach a little bit. Right, there's that done. That was pretty straightforward. So the drive is installed, ready to go. I suppose we might as well put a RAM in while we're at it. Now the RAM we're using on this is going to be the Thermaltake Tuf RAM XG RGB D5. Honestly, this RAM, I would probably not recommend it. It is really good RAM and it is very nice looking. Well, if you like that sort of thing. But it's really expensive. Thermaltake don't do themselves any favours at all when it comes to RAM. It's generally very, very expensive, and it's not like it's using any kind of exotic chips or exotic timings. So yeah, it's nice, but I'm not really sure I can recommend it. It doesn't give you any benefits over more kind of generic brands, really. You still get the same lifetime warranty. But if you're a Thermaltake fanboy and you want to control your RAM in the Thermaltake software, then much like Corsair, you want to do that. You can use it with other systems. It'll work fine with Asus Armory Crate and all the other brands and stuff. Yeah, it's got kind of a nice look to it. But again, it's quite expensive for what it is, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend you go out and buy some unless it's on offer. In which case, knock yourself out. Okie dokie. Right, so we don't need that. I can put that with that. That's all done, so we can slide this out the way for now. I'm going to probably regret that shortly. Let's get the case out. It's Labor Day in America, I think. Is it Labor Day in America? Oh, by the way, processor, in case you didn't know, is a Ryzen 7. This is a 7700X. This was a retail one, bought from Amazon, not an AliExpress one. And the graphics card we're going to be using is going to be the Sapphire RX AIOs7800XT 16 gig. This is the MBA, or is it FBA? Made by AMD. It's basically their kind of reference design. So now you know. I'm just going to grab the case out of the box a minute, so please do talk amongst yourselves. If you've got any questions or anything, ask Kath and she can relay them on to me.
Right, would you avoid QLC drives in favour of TLC? Better keep that.
Right. The kind of the age-old debate between QLC and TLC. So QLC drives are cheaper to produce because they are basically quad level, whereas TLC is triple level. So the best drives on the market, or the fastest or most reliable, will be single layer. Then you get double, triple is kind of like the mainstream, and then you've got your quad level, which is kind of like the cheaper drives. So they have benefits to them. Really, for a Windows operating system drive, I would ideally try to go for a TLC drive. A QLC drive will be just as good. Realistically, you're not going to notice a huge amount of difference. If it's down to a price thing, obviously get the TLC if it's the same price.
Monday will be Labour Day.
Oh, Monday is it? Oh yeah, Bank Holiday Monday, isn't it? Trying to get shock. Man, oh man, it's getting warm. Ugh. How are we doing for time? 9:45. It's not too bad. So for those that didn't see this, I think we had this out on the desk last week. So this is the Thermaltake Ceres 330MX. Sorry, 350MX. Yeah.
What is the newest AMD CPU I can use on a B450 MSI Tomahawk Max motherboard?
The newest CPU you can use on that is going to be probably, well, reliably probably a, I don't know, 5700
Now I got.
or 5900.
Now I've got 2700X. I like to play games and also use programs.
I would go with the 5700X 3D, which I think is actually listed in the chat or in the comments from AliExpress. Really good option. You're not going to get the best out of it on a B450 motherboard, to be fair, but it's okay.
7700X, something like that.
I know. No, it must be another one. But yeah, you can get a 5700X 3D from AliExpress at the moment for about £120, £130, which is arguably one of the best CPUs you can get for the money. Okie dokie, thank you. So while we're in this side, we might as well put the motherboard in. Where's the box of accessories? I could have swore I left that on the top.
Your organisation skills, perhaps.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, there it is. Couldn't see for looking. Yeah, it is. Yeah, QLC drives, the conversation they're going on with Nick. So QLC drives are fine, but you probably don't want Windows on it. If you've got it as like a game drive, they're fantastic for QLC drives for like your Steam library or something, because you don't have that like really fast input output going on all the time, all the tiny little files, which generally SLC or triple level drives do sort of excel at, really. Now this is where we get to the fun part. So we've got all these black screws. My eyesight sucks and I'm trying to work out what the thread is for the motherboard. And it looks like it's the fine screws. So really nice thing as well, Thermaltake have got all the mounting pillars in the right places straight out of the box. And the central pillar is one of those kind of, well, centralizing pillars. So if you get your motherboard located on there, you know you're in exactly the right place. So we're going to count out some screws. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God, my eyesight is getting worse. Or is it this light? I think it might be the light. Let's blame the light. Now, I would have really liked to have used a reverse motherboard on this, but I don't have one, because basically AMD don't do Project Zero or BTF boards in full-size ATX for some bizarre reason, which I have no idea what that reason is. It seems like a massive oversight because there is a market for it, I believe. So yeah, I just don't understand the thought behind that. I would imagine when the 800 series boards start hitting the market, they might start seeing a little bit more of those coming out, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like that anyone's in a hurry to do that. And there we go. There's a telltale click that lets you know that the motherboard is directly in position, and on that center locating lug. Let me get my my head torch on a minute. So I'm not too sure what you guys can actually see and what you can. I don't think the picture is actually too bad. The webcam does a pretty decent job, to be fair. A little bit of extra light though, won't go amiss. Oh wow, I can actually see the screw threads now.
Screws are for newbies, use pop rivets.
Pop rivets. Nick Byron says motherboard looks good in black, Mike. Yeah, it does actually, yeah. This is going to look really pretty. We've done so many builds in in white cases with white motherboards and white fans and all that kind of stuff. And I've always been quite a fan of that kind of that blacked out look with the RGB as well. It's a lot easier to film a white case by a long, long way. I noticed it when I was doing the review of this. When did I film this? Yesterday? Yeah. So I filmed the review of this case yesterday, and I did notice a few times I did have to get a little bit more involved with the focusing than I would normally. Most cameras do struggle to autofocus on like super high contrast. So if you've got like an entirely white screen or an entirely black screen, or the majority of it is, it really does struggle, because the way cameras work is they take like sensor readings and look at contrast differences to get the focus, whereas like in TV and stuff, they would either use like almost like a LiDAR system, like a laser, or they'd actually physically measure the focal distance so they could get the settings exactly right. Some new cameras from, I think it's Panasonic possibly, in conjunction with DJI, are actually going to be having LiDAR. So they actually have LiDAR lasers, so you'll get, well, perfect focus every time, which is yeah, pretty cool. So that is the motherboard installed. Let's put some of our cables in. Might as well get those done now. Where do I leave the power supply? There. So we can unplug those. What's that?
Your organisational skills.
But where did I leave my power supply? Oh yeah, I remember. Oh, I just realised they can hardly see after that. Is that better? Yeah, it's close enough. You can get the rough idea what I'm doing. Most of you are probably just getting drunk anyway, so just a bit of background noise.
And also to remember that the 5700 X3D doesn't come with a cooler. Something like that.
Yeah, That's right, yeah. A lot of AMD stuff doesn't come with coolers now, so yeah, you do have to kind of bear some of that stuff in mind when you're making your purchases. It's a reasonable amount of clearance room here at the top.
That grey mesh room D case looked interesting colour choice.
Yeah, it was actually. Congratulations, Soulblade. 7 years sober. Although, is that congratulations or is that commiserations? I can never tell with things like that. Keep on hearing some cats fighting, or is it me scraping something in here?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, sorry, I was slightly distracted there. Right, so we can put these cables through. I don't think there's anything else I really need to put through here at the moment. No. I suppose I could. The RGB one is a little bit pointless at the moment, so I'm not too sure where that's going to end up. So yeah, I think we're done there. So I'll just pass these through to the other side. Turn the camera around, so we're on the main camera again now. Sorry if I've got my my head torch on, it's slightly blinding you.
Oh jeez, yeah, drunk on PG bloody tips.
Drunk on tips. Nice. I used to drink PG tips like it was going out of fashion.
Well, there it will be sober for 2 years on the 16th of December.
Congratulations.
Mark Hayes is drunk on Pepsi.
I think actually probably Pepsi and sugary drinks like that are probably more harmful than alcohol in some respects, in terms of kind of your overall health. But if you enjoy it, well, moderation is everything, isn't it? And it's a pretty sad life if you don't have a little bit of something you enjoy every now and then. But yeah, ideally in some form of moderation. God, I sound like a parent. Or just someone who's a little bit sensible at times. Right. Do I need my head torch on now? Probably don't actually, do I? What? Kath is the food police, yeah, in our household. She's very proud of that as well. She's the one that keeps us all on the what's it called? The straight and narrow, is that what they call it? Something like that. So, do I do this fan up, being that it's RGB, or do I do it fan down? It isn't really going to make any difference whatsoever. So, I think I might do it fan up, because we've got a lot of mesh here and it will actually bleed some light in towards the GPU area.
Volker's in love with the chassis.
It's a really nice case. I know there's some people out there that don't like the design. Actually, I should say as well, Dave Aitken, congratulations. It is baby Senna's birthday. Yesterday, I believe it was. Was it yesterday? Or?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday, wasn't it? It was the day before.
I think it was yesterday.
But yeah, possibly the youngest member of the Mub family, 1 year old. So congratulations to Dave and Erin, and obviously to the little one as well. And hopefully you've had a great birthday. Although, arguably you will never remember it, because I don't think you remember birthdays until you're about maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you think about that.
Rick H said fan up, please.
Fan up, Roger, Roger.
Fuller stopped drinking because they were getting fat.
Fair enough. That is, you can often tell actually people who've been like lifelong drinkers. It's especially if it's beer, because men get the beer bellies, don't they? We get the bellies anyway because we're just old and stuff. But yeah, you can see gentlemen that have been drinkers for somewhat of a longer period, because they, yeah, it does take its toll, unfortunately. But again, like I said before, everything in moderation. So obviously when you lot at home are doing this, you're going to be doing this considerably easier than I am, because I am working somewhat at a disadvantage, because I'm trying to show you what I can in terms of what I'm actually doing, and I am slightly kind of cautious of the camera angles. So
Zombie has asked, do TT sponsor you?
no, well, I used to say we've never had any sponsorship, and that isn't actually entirely accurate, because we have had a sponsor. Well, we might have had 2 sponsorships where we've actually been paid to do a video.
I can only think of one.
premiumcdkeys.com/Mike's Unboxing, shameless plug. When we first started doing videos for them, they offered us, I think it was £100 to do 4 videos, which obviously isn't a lot in terms of what YouTubers get paid. Like, I think Jay's 2 cents is looking at the kind of, well, 6-digit figures for some videos or for some sponsorship deals. So in terms of what can be earned, yeah, it's very small potatoes. So yeah, but it was 100 quid. They offered us the money, and to be fair, we would have probably done it for nothing. But they offered us the money, so it's like, well, it's a product we believe in. We would have done the videos anyway, so it seems stupid not to take the money.
And we were.
And we were a very small channel starting out at the time, so it actually made a lot of sense to do so. But in terms of anything else video-wise, no. We have had the occasional thing where someone's asked us to put a link to a product in like a pinned comment and give us money for, and like those are like, yeah, well, okay, fine, whatever. If you want to give us money for putting a link in the video, then you're dumber than you look, because I can't see how anyone would make money from that. But
you can't see my email. I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, it's yeah, it just seems like a very bizarre thing to do. But the computer industry is a very weird one, so I try not to question it too much and just like, yeah, okay. But yeah, we don't take sponsorships as a rule.
I think those ones were more early on, weren't they?
That was, yeah, well, Premium CD Keys, we've been doing that now for
18, I think.
That's like 6 years ago.
I think it was when I was working. I wasn't even working at that point.
Yeah. So yeah, in full disclosure, no, we, in fact, if anything, I think we've actually given Thermaltake money. We've probably given Thermaltake more money actually buying stuff from them than we've ever received from them, because we haven't received anything from them.
So Christian Victor, hi, I'm from Argentina.
Hey, how you doing, Christian Victor from Argentina? How are you?
Do you have any videos on how to set up sensor panel?
No, I've never done one, and for a good reason, because I don't know how to do it. I've seen videos, and I've actually wanted to do it because I've got a couple of 7-inch screens which Skystalker, God bless him, sent us absolutely ages ago, and I used them very briefly, but I've never really used Hardware Info, which is the sensor panel software of choice, and because of not kind of getting to grips with that and not knowing how it works particularly well, it's kind of scuppered me a little bit. But it is something which I do, I am going to try and rectify, because I would like to do that at some point. So yeah, just because it isn't on the channel yet doesn't mean it won't be on the channel. It will appear sooner or later.
Bumblebee, out of interest then, what originally motivated you to start a YouTube channel?
Wow. What? Well, it's a multifaceted answer, really, to be honest with you, with the YouTube channel.
But when we say we're not sponsored, we do get sent stuff.
Yeah, we get sent stuff for review. So, like, the case was sent for review. I think the power supply would have been the motherboard we bought, I think. Pretty sure we bought that. Processor we bought. The RAM was sent in for a review. So yeah, most of the stuff we get is sent in for review. And some things we get sent for review and you'll see them maybe once on the channel, maybe twice. Things which I actually genuinely like using or have faith in, I will repeatedly use or you'll see often. So obviously things like the streaming PC behind, I've got the MSI B650 Edge Wi-Fi. Now we actually bought that, and the first Tomahawk board I had was absolutely awful. It was terrible, and that was actually pretty bad at the beginning, but the BIOSes have got better and better. And I've got a lot of faith in that board now. So that is why it stays there, because I know in my heart of hearts, it's a decent board. It does the job. It looks nice and it's easy to recommend. So if people say to me, Mike, I'm looking for a motherboard, what do you suggest? I'm looking at maybe a Tomahawk, a Tough Gaming or an Edge Wi-Fi. I'd be like, well, my experience with the Tomahawk wasn't great. The Edge Wi-Fi wasn't brilliant to begin with, but is now like absolutely rock solid stable. So for me, I would feel absolutely confident buying that board. And if you want to buy that board, I think you're going to get a lot of life out of it and enjoyment out of it. It's going to be fine. So yeah, that's kind of the way it works. I think that's how it works for companies. They send you stuff for free. They expect some amount of exposure for it to be seen on camera, etc., etc. But there isn't anything ever kind of written down saying, right, you must put this in X video. I know some companies do this though. They will say, right, we will send you such and such, but we want to see this, we want to see a short video, we want to see a TikTok or a Facebook post or whatever. And to be honest with you, that sort of stuff in the early days would have been actually quite kind of very tempting. But it's got to the point where it's hard enough to remember everything that we have to do and to kind of be upfront and honest about it and all that kind of stuff. So if I ever had to start like making up stuff and lying to people, I would never remember what I said. So it would be an absolute cluster F, you know. I would never be able to pull it off. So that's why I don't bother. And there's been quite a few companies that have contacted us and said, oh, would you do this, blah, 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 etc., etc. It's like, nah, just not interested, because it's just hard work. I'd much rather be able to go to bed at night, sleep peacefully, knowing that everything that I've done or said has been my own opinion and I genuinely believe what I'm saying. Whereas I know for a fact, watching some videos and from my own experience, that there's a lot of videos out there which aren't that at all.
Right, let's jam. Mike. Is the EPS,
Jan.
Is the EPS cable the right cable? I have not seen an EPS cable with a pigtail yet.
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? I don't know why they've put that on there, but yeah, it does split into 2 lots of 4. So it is 100% the right one, but thank you for looking at that and pointing it out. It is, yeah, strangely it is the right one, but yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. Anyhow. Right, let's have a look at our front panel wiring. Front panel block connector, awesome. Yes.
You better read it.
Why? Is it bad?
Which BIOS version should I get from MSI support site of my motherboard?
Get the newest one.
One, he's given options.
Don't. There's no options. Just get the newest one.
It's the beta version.
If it's the newest one and it's a beta, then it's up to you. Most betas are fine. MSI ones actually tend to be quite good, the beta BIOSes, to be fair. But do whatever you feel's right. If you don't think you can trust a beta, then just get the next newest one. At the moment, there's a lot of things coming around, such as vulnerabilities for the AM4 platform and AM5 platform for that matter. So I would suggest if you can, get the newest one, because it'll have all the newest updates rolled up. Oh, actually, where's my new pen? Need my new pen. If it's like a mission critical system, I'd probably go for a non-beta. But ideally, you want to get the newest one.
Why did you start a YouTube channel?
Sorry, why did I start a YouTube channel? Okay, so this is actually a really long story, so I'll chat about it while I'm wiring this up. So started off many years ago. Some of you remember there was a thing called Sky TV. And we got Sky TV from Kath's cousin because he worked for Radio Rentals or something like that. Can't remember what was the actual company. I think it was Radio Rentals, something along those lines. And yeah, so we got Sky TV pretty early on, and we were colossal stoners without putting too fine of a point on it. So yeah, we like to partake in on night time, and we would end up just staying up all night watching crap, and then well, it seemed like all night, yeah, because time went super slow. But yeah, so we'd end up watching like stuff like QVC, and we got to the point where like we were ordering stuff and it'd turn up at Kath's nan's house and we're like, oh, what did we order? Shit.
Your saucepans have turned up.
Yeah, we ordered a set of saucepans. Didn't even know we needed them.
And a coffee maker.
Oh yeah, and a cappuccino machine. So yeah, we were shibbying way too hard, but we were young and that's what you do. So obviously QVC was a massive influence, and at the time I always thought like that's got to be a great job because most of it's scripted anyway. So they just stand there and talk about products and get to try out products, and I thought that's bloody amazing. They're getting paid to do that, and yeah, I really liked the idea of it. But I thought, well, QVC's in London. I ain't moving to London, sod that. And it's kind of one of those things that you just think about and it kind of goes away. Over the years, I did various different jobs, retail predominantly, a few kind of clerical type jobs and bits and pieces, a bit of everything really. And I used to always get really bored, and I always hated having someone else as my boss. So it was always kind of like a little bit of a dream to be self-employed. Also a bit of a dream to be on QVC. And obviously as the years roll down, things come out such as YouTube, etc. And you watch YouTube channels, obviously, as we do now, still do now. And you lot are obviously still doing now. And it's sort of, I thought, well, I could probably do that. I didn't really want to do tech specifically, but I just wanted to give it a go because QVC stuff. Cutting into the story a little bit more, Kath got quite ill at one point, and we were both working jobs. Kath was just finishing a job, although no, before that she was ill. Anyway, she was ill, and it was getting to the point where we didn't know whether we would both be able to continue working at all, whether or not I'd have to be a stay-at-home carer, and all those kinds of things. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, right, if I've got to support a family, how am I going to do this if I'm having to be a carer? I can't really go out to do a job because I need to be here. So ideally I need to do something I can work from home. And at that point it's like, well, actually, why don't I just do a YouTube channel? Then I can work at my own pace pretty much. And yeah, it might work out. If not, we'll try something else. So that was my kind of...
I was working with you on a fixed term contract, so
yeah.
we knew it'd end.
Kath was working on a fixed term contract with me at the BBC. So we knew that would come to an end at some point. So there was kind of like a time frame where I had to go between having a full-time job and income to where potentially that income would dry up, and also Kath's income would dry up as well. So we'd have basically no money coming in unless I can find something to do. So yeah, we started the YouTube channel, experimented with various different items, and just started off as you do, like just grab something and just talk about it in front of a camera. It was pretty poor stuff, but it was
lights going out.
It was a start, and everyone's got to start somewhere. And it was, I think if it wasn't for the fact that Kath was ill and I knew that there was like this kind of potential financial catastrophe on the horizon, I think I would have struggled to find motivation to basically sit in front of the camera. But that at the time was my motivation. Also, it was, like I said, in the back of my mind, I always loved the QVC thing, the shopping channel. That stuff always fascinated me anyway. So it was kind of like an amalgamation of all those things that just finally pushed me in the right direction. And I kind of enjoyed it a little bit to begin with. And it goes through phases where you kind of really enjoy what you do. Then it gets to you. Then it gets a bit monotonous and it becomes like a day job. And yeah, you go through all these different things. It is very much a roller coaster, especially when you get things like the ad apocalypse, where basically the income dries up and everyone's panicking, thinking, oh my God, is this it? Is this the end? And then you get to peak seasons or something happens in the PC industry, which is really exciting. And people start watching and the views go up and the money starts coming in and advertisers start placing ads and stuff. And yeah, you go through that kind of thing. So it's, although every day is very similar, you really don't know what to expect. So we're really lucky and really blessed that we've got a really great community of people that watch the videos. And to be honest with you, most of the people that watch the videos are just new people that are just wanting an answer to a question, which was pretty much what my intention was. That I didn't want to be like Linus Tech Tips. I didn't want to be like any of those big channels where they've got massive subscriber counts and they've got loads of these returning viewers. And that, I think, actually feels more like a noose, because then you know you have to please your audience. Whereas we're quite lucky that most of our views come from first-time viewers trying to get an answer to a question, or to try to fix something, or to know how to flash a BIOS, or whatever it is. So we get lots of new people coming in, and some people decide to stay, which is absolutely great. And for those of you that watch the streams, obviously you've been around for a long, long time, so you're part of the kind of like the core community, which I did want. I didn't want to have a massive, massive following where everyone's like,
and pressure.
Yeah, the pressure of making a video to suit that community. We can still do videos basically on kind of anything I want to, and it's never really going to damage the channel, which is absolutely fantastic. And financially at the moment, it's okay, we get by. And thanks to the donations of you lot, all your kind gifts, etc., really do help. So you are making it easier for us to do what we want to do. It's still hard work, and you still have to get up every day and get up, turn on the camera, do your research, do your video shots, edit the videos and answer the questions and stuff, but at least we can do it somewhat at our own pace, which is it's pretty cool. So anyway, hopefully that explains it for those of you that have never known why we do what we do. And for those of you that have heard it before, then hopefully I haven't put you to sleep.
And Thanos said you worked at the BBC.
Yes, I did work at the BBC, unfortunately.
We were just glorified cleaners.
Yeah, we were just cleaners, basically. Well-paid cleaners and organisers.
We were in a prop store.
I think we had a contribution to what went on. Not in terms of the bad stuff, but we contributed in... We did get involved. It wasn't like we were completely nobodies, but...
I was.
Most people are, to be honest, at the BBC. I was lucky because I was staff, so I was in a very unusual position because the BBC very, very, very rarely has staff.
That's why the channel...
Yeah.
They were meant to give me another year, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So we had to start this a lot quicker than we had to.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my god, we got to start soon. But I think one of the best things I ever did was starting the channel. I still do sometimes regret a little bit the certainty of a check, but then every time I see the fact that Casualty is going to be taken off air or whatever, or they're talking about it, or the BBC are doing cutbacks, it's like, well, I would have been working through that and kind of bricking it, thinking, oh my god, am I going to be the next to lose my job or be made redundant? So.
And Ian McLeod, we don't know how much the TV license is because we don't pay ours.
Yeah, no idea how much TV license is because we don't watch TV.
And
We don't have a license for TV or radio, which does suck a little bit for some things, but it's more of a principled decision. Basically, F you BBC, for want of a better word. Right, sorry, I'm trying to do this cable management at the same time as waffling, and it's not working out. So let's pass that through. So we've got a nice block connector on here for the front panel connection, which is great because it means you basically can't really wire it up wrong, which if I do wire it up wrong now is actually going to make me look rather silly. So let's put on my little torchette and yeah, calf's okay. Well, as okay as anybody can be.
We're still weird. Weird and proud.
Yeah, we are. We're right there. We really are.
Have they ever come around to check you have a license?
No, they've sent loads of letters and emails and what have you to say, oh, you haven't paid your license. So we did there was a thing you can do where you can report them to something or other and then do like this what's it, a document?
I think you're meant to do it.
It's a document to say that you are... don't watch TV. So like an official document where you sign it and all that sort of stuff. And then you send it to them and say, look, I hereby declare...
No, I think they just phoned up.
Well, no,
We
it's,
just phoned them and said we don't watch TV. And they
wasn't there a paper one as well?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
I don't think you
And
are.
then they just leave it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then they contact you again and you say no, you don't watch it.
Yeah, say, screw you, it is.
Must be coming up.
Yeah, it can't be far off. Isn't it? Right, addressable RGB, just plug that in the bottom here. Not.
Properly, it's legal and everything, you don't have to pay it.
Yeah, you don't have to pay a TV license, it's fine if you don't watch TV.
We haven't even got an aerial connected.
Yeah, when we had our roof done, we asked the roofer to actually destroy the aerial.
But he left it up there, but the wire's tangled up there.
I suppose arguably you could say that we
I asked that.
we could get digital signals, I suppose.
I might ask that chimney on the fireman if he
Yeah, take that in.
is up there.
That's a good idea. Right, I think that is all the cabling done inside. Not looking too shabby. Actually, there's a lot of wiring to do for the fans, which I've kind of glossed over a little bit, so let's fire those up. Now this, I'm not going to be turning this on because I'm not going to be installing the cooler, like I said, because that is going to be, I need to do the unboxing and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to get everything else ready and waiting. This is a really nice case to work in. It's not been too bad an experience. I do like the Ceres cases, they are pretty good.
David Thompson says I receive a TV license letter every 6 to 8 weeks, waiting for them to knock so I can wind them up and put the vid on YouTube. Let us know if you do it.
Mm.
I don't think they do.
It's getting hot in here. It's still 24.3 degrees and 53% humidity, but it feels a lot more humid than that. Do you feel humid? It feels like I'm being microwaved. And I'm not keen on being microwaved, if I'm honest.
I wake up in the night feeling like I'm being microwaved.
Right. Let's move this around to the back, and we'll try and do a little bit of cable management. I'm not going to go too overboard on this, because there may be some changes, so I don't really want to go too crazy.
Here, they would come over and tell me we have a detector van, we know you have a TV.
Those detector vans are hilarious. Yeah. The thing is, like, in theory, like, a TV detector kind of could work, but it's just the fear-mongering that they actually put around it, which made it so hilarious. And there's, like, I suppose it's typical kind of BBC and government propaganda, isn't it? That it's like, well, we know what you're doing and we control you and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, yeah. Okay, whatever. I'm very much a freedom of speech advocate. I don't like being told what I can and can't see, speak, or do. That upsets me, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm a human being and I have something which is known as free will, which I should be able to exercise at whenever I want to. And if it upsets somebody, then it upsets someone. But that is someone else's God-given right to be upset with things that I might say. I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to like specifically upset someone, because that's just a dick thing to do. But yeah, if you don't like my opinions, that's fine. I don't necessarily have to like yours. That's the way the world should be. Right, I need a...
It would pick up your next door neighbour's TV.
Yeah.
Do they have a licence to keep picking up all these TV signals?
Yeah. Have you got a licence for picking up TV signals?
Ian McLeod, my wife plays for BBC here in the US. She loves Doctor Who and UK crime shows. So you saying?
To be honest with you, that's fair enough. If you like it and you don't mind paying for it, then it's entirely up to you, isn't it? It's one of those things that if you want to,
I think
having the option is fine.
So it'd be not the TV licence as such, would it? It'd be
Yeah, they just pay for yeah. Oh, this is
really wants to visit London once
I went to London
in their lifetime.
twice, I think, and I never really want to return. It's probably very nice, but not my cup of tea. I'm trying to work out where I'm going to plug these fans in. I want to plug them all in onto a single header. Most MSI motherboards have got a chassis fan header right over there on this side, which is in a perfect position to just go boom straight into there. But the Asus board doesn't have it, and I've only got a certain amount of length here to plug into something, and it won't quite stretch down there. Well, it would, but I'd have to disconnect this fan at the back, which I might end up doing anyway. Oh, why have they not put a fan header there? That's just silly. They've got an AIO one, and there's CPU and CPU optional, but I don't want to use that if I can help it. So what I might end up doing, so I take that up to there. I'm pretty sure, yes it does. This case comes with an extension cable. So I'm going to wire up all three of the fans, so the two 140s at the front and the single 140 at the back. I'm going to wire them all in together so that when I'm doing my fan testing, I can set those at a static speed to make life a little bit easier for myself. And if I plug this into the bottom header down here, I can then run the cable up the side and then plug in all three of those and just run all that along the top, keeping that nice and neat and tidy. Hey, thanks Rick Leaks. Thank you for Lakes, sorry. Licks I said, didn't I? Got someone else's teeth in.
Kev, what's the specs of the build?
Specs of the build. So we have got a Ryzen 7 7700X. It's the Asus B650 Tuf Gaming Wi-Fi Plus motherboard. Most of the stuff's in the in the video description if you want to check it out there. The case is the Thermaltake Ceres 350 MX TG. Graphics card is going to be the Sapphire, like the Founders Edition type 7800XT. Got 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM from Thermaltake as well. There's an 850 watt gold rated power supply, again Thermaltake. What else we got? The M.2 drive is a Fanciana, if that is how it's pronounced. Just a 1 terabyte drive there. Don't need much more than that, just for some simple testing.
Who's that?
What else we got? I think that's about it. Cooler wise, the coolers that will be going in here, there's going to be two different coolers. So there's going to be two AIOs, a 240, which is the Thermalright, which is cheap and cheerful, like 50 quid. And then we've also got the Thermaltake, is it a Tough Liquid? No, it's a TH280 V2 Ultra EX ARGB sync, which is possibly one of the longest names I've ever come across for a AIO cooler. It just seems a little bit silly having such a long name, really, but hey, it's their gig. They can call it whatever they want. It doesn't make it any easier for reviewers, I suppose. Right, so I'm going to run that cable over here. Actually, I might run that under. I'm going to run that under there. I'm going to put a cable tie up here. Again, I'm not going to make this ultra clean and tidy. It's just going to be most of the cables out of the way, just so that I can get on and do the review and take some shots. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with this PC after I've done the testing. I am tempted just to sell it. We are getting towards that autumnal feel at the moment, so obviously Christmas is not going to be too far away. So I might see if I can get an early sell or a back to school sell. That would be kind of neat. And of course there's going to be lots more motherboards, lots more cases and lots more stuff in general in the coming weeks and months. Of course we've got Christmas coming, we've got CEX in the new year. Santa Claus might bring us all kinds of lovely, lovely things. although I guess that's unlikely, but you never know. And of course we've got the new Intel processors coming out in the not too distant future also. So those are going to be interesting to see if there's going to be any huge improvements there. I'm guessing realistically there probably won't be, but we have to, well, we don't have to, but we should be kind of slightly open-minded to see what's going to come out.
Right, Thanos has asked, should I let my SSD inside while update BIOS?
Yeah, it's fine. If it's easy to disconnect it, disconnect it. If it's a SATA one, just disconnect it. But if it's an M.2, it'll be fine.
And where can you purchase the case?
At the moment, you can only get this case in America, as far as I'm aware. I don't think it's officially released in the UK as of yet. There are some placeholder prices. If you do a search for Ceres 350 MX, there's actually an extreme amount of different colours of this. So if you don't like the black version, which I think most people will actually, it's a little bit different, isn't it? In a world of white cases, it's quite nice. But yeah, there are an absolute ton of colours available. So if I remember rightly, and I struggled with this in the review. So we'll start off with the kind of they're not primary colours, but the bold colours. So you've got black, you've got white, you've got Bumblebee yellow, you've got racing green. What's the other bright colours? Black, white, yellow. Oh, bubblegum pink. Bubblegum pink. So that's the 5 like bright colours. Then you've got matcha green, which is like a pale green. You've got the hydrangea blue. I'm sure there's an 8th one. I can't think what it is.
That sandy one?
No, because I don't think that's listed at the moment. But there's going to be seasonal ones as well, potentially. So it looks like there's going to be one which is like a fuzzy peach. And also I think there's one which is like a desert one. So there's one which is like a bronzy gold, which is the desert sand. And then there's the fuzzy peach, which is kind of like peachy orange. I'm sure I've missed out one of the colours there. I'll have to go to the website. But yeah, there's about 8 colours at launch. And of course, being that it is a Thermaltake product, they've actually got the all the kind of the crazy accessories. So AIOs, fans, LCD displays, all that kind of stuff. All of which will probably be available at some point or other in either the CT140 fans, the CT120 and 140 EX RGB, and also the coolers as well, the all-in-ones. So there's hydrangea blue, green, matcha green, pink, all sorts. So yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast. So if you're looking for something which is a little bit colourful, or perhaps you're looking for something for someone for a Christmas present, like for kids or whatever, and there's a certain theme they like if they're into Transformers, Bumblebee yellow would be absolutely brilliant. If they're into, like, I don't know, if it's a girly type one, maybe the pink one, the bubblegum pink, that's pretty cool. If well, male or female person into pink, it happens. It's a brave new world. It really is. You can be into anything. So yeah, if you like that sort of stuff, yeah, there's lots of colour options. Or if you just want something slightly more kind of understated, you've got obviously the white or the black, or the hydrangea blue, or the matcha green, which are kind of quite a muted colour scheme. I do like the fact that these cutouts are in lots of places, so it's easy to pass through cabling. And this motherboard has got so many headers, it's excellent. There you go. Right. I might tie that onto there actually. Keep the RGB cables safe, because you don't want those flying around all over the place. Xmas red. I did see somewhere that there was going to be a red and gold one, which when I saw it, it's like, oh cool, Iron Man. But I've not seen anything else about that since, so Whether that is going to be a thing or not, I honestly don't know. I hope it is. It's kind of interesting. Again, it's a bit different. It's nice to have something a bit different. Something I have noticed they haven't included in here, which they often do, is the little Thermaltake RGB joiners. Which, yeah, doesn't seem to be any in this particular case.
Purple one?
Not seen any hint of a purple one. But again, because it is a seasonal thing, there might be a purple one coming later. Ultimately, I guess it's going to come down to what the market dictates. So if people ask for it, or it is asked for, then there's a greater chance of them actually saying, okay, we've had lots of interest, people seem to want this, so let's see what they can do. I honestly think it's a very brave move. It's almost the exact opposite of what I said earlier with the Thermaltake situation, whereas Thermaltake are going and doing basically what is popular, knowing that if they do something which is popular, then it's more likely they're going to get a potential sale out of it. Whereas Thermaltake are kind of going and spreading their bets really, really wide, doing all these different colours, in all the different colours for the fans as well. They are, I can't imagine all of them being like as popular as each other. Obviously the white fans are probably going to be the most popular, the black ones second. Then you're going to have like maybe your Hydrangea blues. The other colours, I can't see them getting a lot of traction, to be fair, but they seem to be really going in heavy in, especially on the Matcha green, which I don't like personally. I think that, I don't know, just not keen on it. Hey Dave, how you doing? What's new? Dave?
All right, Dave?
Check the wiring. Is there anything I've missed? Or are you going to wait until I power it up and say, told you so, Baldy? What are you doing, Dave? Can you actually see him?
Just about.
Not really. That lighting is awful, isn't it? I keep on looking at it thinking, oh my days, that's disgusting.
Andy.
Let's turn that round. That's better. That's probably not better, actually.
Is it better, Dave?
Hey, Dave. You okay? You been good? Yeah? You gonna purr for the camera? Or for the audio?
Do you stomp in? Make some biscuits?
No? You can't really sit there, mate.
I can.
Oh, sorry, it's me. You okay? He's lost for words. He's normally very noisy.
What's wrong, Dave?
Mark Berry, David, sorry to hear that. It's quite concerning what's happening in this country now without getting political. Does Cardboard City in London still exist, or is it a tent city now? Dave is making sure the build is up to code. He is. Right, Dave, sorry mate, I'm going to have to move you. So I've got to put the PC down. Can I move you? Come here, babe. Oh.
Cats don't stay kittens for long. They're nearly a year.
Yeah, is
Next
it
month.
nearly a year old, is it, little Dave?
In October, they're a year.
Right, let's get this graphics card installed. And for that, I will flip you over to the overhead camera. I'm probably going to... Oh. Right, Kath, hide. Oh no, don't worry. I'll put the main camera on first. I don't know why the camera's gone to sleep. Let's have position 1. There we go. Overhead camera, there we go. Sorry about that, I'm not too sure entirely what happened there. Have you got the brightness button?
It is.
Thank you.
He needs a little clipboard for his QA work.
He does. Oh dear, imagine that. Little Dave with a clipboard. Right, I must go with the head torch.
It is upside down, Miss Jane.
It's what?
Upside down?
What is? Oh, the warning.
I don't know.
It's right
It's
now.
upside down, but because I've changed screen. Mine's all behind.
So, time for the well, arguably one of the stars of the show. So this is the Sapphire Radeon RX7800XT. This is, I would say, probably one of the best value graphics cards on the market right now. In terms of power, performance, price, it's hard to actually beat this, and they have been going for some really, really good prices recently. Now, when I say really good prices, obviously take that into the context of what the global marketing trends are dictating. But yeah, this has been available very recently from very.co.uk here in the UK for somewhere in the region of about £400, down from the original kind of £500. And it has been slightly lower as well. Viali100 says, that's the GPU I want. Make me an offer. Rasher's coming with a super chat there. It says, my internet stopped working for 5 minutes. Met my wife and kids. They're nice people.
I thought he was going to say Miss Dave.
Excellent. I was considering with this as actually putting the GPU in as a horizontal mount. Sorry, a vertical mount. But considering that I'm lazy, I'm not going to bother. I might do. It's not really the sort of card you want a vertical mount, to be fair. It's nice enough, but it's not quite like, it's not special. It's nice, but if it was a triple fan or add a bit of RGB on it, I think it would make a good idea. But I think that's it. Viali says, no money, Mike. I'm a carer for my mum. God bless you. Yeah, like I said earlier in the stream, that was almost my kind of life plan, really. Let's stick the graphics card in. Here we go. This is where I think I should have actually run 2 lots of cables through for the graphics. But anyway, there we go. Boom, into position. That is something which I do like about the case as well, the Ceres 330.
2 lazy cats and a bag of cookies for that GPU.
2 lazy cats and some cookies. Well, that is mighty tempting. But then that would take me up to 3 bags of cookies and 8 cats, which I think is more than enough for any mortal being. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to say no to that. But thank you for the offer. The motherboard is a Asus B650 Tuf Gaming Wi-Fi Plus. Nice board, actually.
What GPU is that? I missed it.
The GPU is the Radeon AMD Sapphire RX7800XT 16 gig. This actually is a very, very nicely balanced system.
About your diet.
Like my diet.
Food police.
Food police are coming. Now, I shouldn't be doing this, but I probably... I should just put the other cable in, shouldn't I? I'm going to put the other cable in. Team Green equivalent is probably the 4070. Come and say g'day. Flame. I'll have to change camera. Go on in. Here's Flame. Hey, Ginger.
Camera Flame.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Alright, I'll let him. He wants food.
Okay.
Don't want to annoy your good nature. It's not around very often, is it, Flame?
See, I've touched something. It absolutely stinks on my hands. Not sure what that was. Andy Archer, £20 super chat. Oh, bless you. He says, my kittens sent funds for nibbles for Dave and the gang. Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you.
So you can't see what you're doing as well in there.
Yeah. Oh, what have I touched? Something stinks down there. But it's only on that hand.
Oh,
Ugh.
scratching.
I haven't scratched my ass.
Pork scratching.
Thank you, Andy Archer. Much appreciated. Actually, Andy Archer, bless his heart. Did I say, I think I said in last week's stream, the Delta Team Force RAM. I was considering putting that in here, but because this is like a Thermaltake build, I wanted to go with the Thermaltake. And also this is 6000 mega transfer RAM, so I know this definitely works with the AM5 platform. But I was kind of thinking, should I go with the other one that Andy sent? I will be doing a little bit of a review on that in the coming days, weeks or months. There's our cables. We're on the main camera anyway. Sorry about that. Ugh. Cat butt. I didn't. No, I don't think I touched the cat butt. But right, this is where I regret putting the power supply in and doing some cable management, because I've got to try and get that cable to go in to there. That's not going to be easy, is it? Ugh. Actually, it's a lot easier if I put it this way. It's a bit wobbly, but don't worry, I am slightly trained. Oh, it's right over there as well. You absolute bastard. Okay, right. This is the part where I am regretting some of my decisions, which I think was going to be the case anyway. CPU. Oh, it's right down the other end. Git. Oh no, it's not. CPU H power. It's not very easy to see now. Right, I think that's it there. Did that flash to say that I'm running out of battery? Oh, I don't want to take the power supply out. Come on, Thermaltake, make one of these power supplies where you can, the switch ones where you can, stop blinking.
I should put a litter tray under my PC desk for their cat. Peed all over the cables instead of the tray.
Why is this flashing? Stop flashing. Yes, got it. Is there a drive enclosure? Is that what somebody asked?
Sorry, is there a drive enclosure? Oh, sorry, that goes in front of the power supply but is removed for now?
No, there isn't a drive enclosure in the front. So the front space there is designed for a 120 or 140mm fan, so you can put that in there. The only drive storage space you've got one there, and one there, all on removable sleds. So you can put a 2.5 inch drive there, and there. You can put a 3.5 inch drive there instead of the 2.5 if you want to. So 3 drives in total.
That's why Dave was quiet. He felt violated.
Did he? Oh, what? Because I... Oh, yeah.
Did he?
Bless him. Sorry, Dave, if I violated you. It wasn't intentional.
I don't think he can get through his fur.
No, he's got so much fur. He has a hard enough job getting it out.
Without getting in his fur.
Yeah. And the back panel goes on very easily without me having to do the suitcase job on it.
That's just your wigs in there.
Yeah. And let's just finish off this little bit inside. Go back to the overhead. I can't use the cat. I can't. This thing goes. Oh, it's back on now. No, it's dead. That's gone flat really quick.
Oh, it's on now. Right in my eyes.
What's it doing? It's gone nuts. I can't see it. Let's put it on the less bright setting. See if that lasts a bit longer. No, I can't see a thing. So I could do with cabling or cable tying those in a little bit. I'm actually almost tempted to put on the angle brackets on there, but I think that'll be alright.
Angel brackets.
Bit of angel bracket. So I kind of want them to be a little bit straighter. Just put a little bit of a bend in them. I think those will be alright. They might train themselves actually. I'll put a cable tie around it just to hold it in place for now. I think I've actually got some cable, what's it called, extensions somewhere, which I could probably put on, but I don't think I've got any black ones. Yeah, that's pretty neat. So there we go. There is the finished PC, pretty much. Don't look too bad. I've definitely done worse. Oh, and that RGB wire's come off already. Yeah, the RGB wire for the power supply is a little bit of a weird one because the spacing's not particularly great on it. Look at the, I was just looking at myself in the stream there, my big fat head in the way. My apologies. Not too shabby, says Tree Dude. It's alright. Now what I might do, just so you can see it what it's like when it's powered on, I might just put a normal CPU cooler in there just to give it a try. What have I got? What have I got? Which isn't going to look absolutely ridiculous. Not a lot. Ah, damn it. I have got the CT120 ARGB fan, which I could have put in the back. Ah, oh, damn it. Oh well, that'll be for another day. That was a rookie error there. I was looking for one of those earlier, thinking I'm sure I've got one somewhere, and lo and behold, I did. Right, let's put the stock AMD cooler on, which will probably last all of about 3 seconds until it thermal throttles, but at least I can turn it on. You can see what it looks like. Hey Kenny D, how you doing? Good to see you, and also Kev2427, how you doing also?
You answered his question earlier.
The fact the motherboard doesn't have an integrated I/O shield annoys me more than it should. What, this motherboard, or just motherboards in general? Ian McLeod says this would be a great Christmas PC to sell to someone. Well, if you think about how much this is actually worth, it's a lot of money here, which is really quite saddening. And I've been saying this to quite a few people recently. The PC market has got rather, well, let's say it's stupid, isn't it, really? The prices are just increasing at a ridiculous rate. But then if you had this PC, it's pretty much going to last you a good few years, isn't it? Or at least until the next Cyberpunk game comes out. And I don't know when that's going to be, just in case anyone's wondering. I don't have any inside information, that's for sure. Yeah, that cooler doesn't look quite right in there, does it? In fact, actually, I don't even know if it can fit in there. Well, maybe it will.
Rick said thanks for using the TF4 paste I sent you.
Yeah, that was good stuff, that is.
And the headlamp.
Yeah, and the headlamp as well. Thermaltake stuff is good gear. I know we've said it a few times already on tonight's stream, but it is It's actually good stuff.
Kenny's D's basically done with the PC market right now. Just going to get a Ryzen 5700 X3D, then keep my 3070 for a while longer.
Yeah, the PC market is it's pretty sad, isn't it? I can never remember which one of these two headers is the right one. CPU fan optional. So CPU fan is the grey one. I'm pretty sure I said on a video that, oh, that's cool, they color coded it to make life easier. But I don't think it is. I think I got that wrong. But it's okay to make mistakes because we're all human beings. I make mistakes all the time. Okay, that is that's pretty done. That's actually reasonably tidy. Some things there's not a lot you can do about. Again, when it comes to the back to front motherboards, having all this on the back just makes it so much cleaner. But I think it looks alright. It's okay. Right, let's go back to the main camera. Let's take this off.
Oh, Rick, if I win tonight's lottery, I'll buy you guys a new larger house.
Oh, bless you. Just buy next door and we'll knock through. That'd be great. That would make me very happy. Right, shall we see if this actually boots? I think it will. But in order to see if it boots, there is something I'm going to need.
Flip and rotate the CPU fan outer ring so the AMD logo.
I know. I did start to do that actually, but it was fighting me a little bit. Oh, for God's sakes! It's because I turned on that thing again. Where's me? I killed the camera.
The camera's still lit up on the back.
Is that?
Picture of you.
Oh.
As usual.
Right, bear with us a second. I'm going to turn the camera off. Come on, there we go. Now that is bizarre in more ways than one, because actually the camera has a battery in it, so it shouldn't make a difference if it's actually on or off. Anyway, yeah, don't buy us a new bigger house, just buy us one with electrics that work properly. Although to be fair, that is my fault because I changed that wall socket and I've been meaning to replace that for so long. I really do need to do that. I will do it at some point. But as always, there's always some other catastrophe waiting to happen. Or happening. And before I plug in the monitor, I'm going to pack away some of this stuff. To make my exit a bit quicker tonight. What time are we doing? Not seeing too bad.
Hey guys, still rocking on a Ryzen 7 3700X RX7800XT. I'm more than happy.
6800XT is a great card.
What am I on?
Calf's on a Ryzen,
You smiled then.
Ryzen 5 2600. She's got 32 gigs of RAM though. On a B450 Pro 4 motherboard. And on a William Bode's Zotac GTX 1060 6 gig. And Welly Bob's CPU. Yeah. Calf's PC will go on forever. Or at least until it... Yeah, she's got like at least 120 tabs open. And I'm not even joking.
Probably more now.
There is the best part of 120 tabs open on her computer. Which, you don't even need them open, do you? You just open them when you answer questions and forget to close them, don't you?
Yeah.
That's so lazy. Just because you've got all the RAM doesn't mean you can abuse it. RAM has feelings too, you know. Anything else I can put in here for now? No, I think that is pretty much it. motherboard bag.
And like I was saying, we were in Underhill earlier.
Yes.
To get word in.
Yeah.
First day of spring today.
Where to?
In Australia.
Oh, I thought you meant here. Feels like it. First day of spring. 33 degrees.
We're lucky if we get that in the summer.
I don't think we've had 33 degrees this year, have we? Officially.
No, just... That was... Oh, what was I doing?
It was probably like some weather station next to an airport or something on concrete, on tarmac, where it gets super hot. Hmm?
Get engines on there.
Yeah.
Oh, William Booty, it's not my GPU anymore, it's not HP now.
Yeah. It's served us well, to be fair. It's done pretty bloody well. Okay, monitor. Let's get a monitor. Have I got a monitor? What have I got on there? That's the Wimexit, so I can't use that one. Oh, for God's sakes.
The ordinary dude, I usually have 60 or more tabs open across all 3 monitors. They're just weird, keep doing them.
That's because I'm super organised.
No, it's not. When I say, where's the copy of the email?
That's true. That is true. Right, so just as fair warning, if you are a member or a contributor on Discord or Patreon, if you can, log into your Patreon or go into your Discord, and if we've already sent us a message in the past, just go in and pin your address and just say, oh, this is our address, blah blah blah, etc etc, still at this address. And you never know, you might get a little something from us. You might not, but you might. And to be fair, you shouldn't get too excited. It's only a pen, for Christ's sake. But I guess it is the thought that counts. So we might just send you an email saying, well, we thought about sending you one. And that is what counts. I broke this. I need to make a bracket for this, actually. This has got a VESA 75 screw holes there. So I need to design or make some kind of folding stand which I can attach to those screws, because I basically broke it, which was a bit silly. So let's see if this thing boots up. I'm guessing it probably will.
Why don't you use that thingy stand you got for your motherboards?
Yeah, I might have to. Please be the HDMI on this side. Nope, it's on the furthest one away. Okay, let's try and get this on a nice angle, but oh well.
Bang!
Silly sod. Right, turn it on. I lost the display. No, we're all good. Fingers crossed, everybody. And 3, 2, 1.
Bang!
Well, we got power. That's a start.
Mount the screen to the PC case, lol.
It's not a bad idea.
Tape it on.
Are we gonna get a display? I can see the light cycling through the top of the fan blade. You can just about see it. Where are we? Just there. See the LEDs there? Shining through the fan blade. So that's going into boot. And we have something on the screen which says BIOS is updating LED firmware from our BIOS update just now. Do not turn off your PC. So that's updated the RGB firmwares. I think the RGB update for this BIOS update was something to do with the Windows dynamic lighting, which is very exciting. So what we've got there, Asus TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi ACPI BIOS version 3024, so it did flash. Ryzen 7 7800X 8-core processor, memory 32 gigabytes. Please press enter to recover BIOS settings when ready configurations are built, blah blah blah. It's working and everything is detected. Happy days. So it worked. And also, what do you think of the PC? Do you like the look of this? Let's move that along a bit so you can see what's it like inside, hopefully. Is that any better? Give you a bit of a side-on view. So the RGB is quite minimal. Got a little bit bleeding through from the bottom. Let's turn the lights off a minute. There we go.
Bang button doesn't work quick enough.
So yeah, we've got a little bit of RGB bleeding going on there. And where is the... Let's turn the fan on.
Thinks it's cute. Rick Lakes looks very nice.
Thank you guys, girls, and whoever. Not bad. So with a little bit of an extra RGB at the back, and obviously with a different cooler, I think that would look kind of cool.
Top left needs RGB.
Yeah, definitely. Right, stick the light back on, Kath, please. And that's a nice thing about the Thermaltake cases, because this is using the CT120s, so you can grab yourself a pack of these and stick this in. So if we were going for air cooling, you could have two of these, so one there and one in the top, just to pull the air off of the CPU cooler, and also it would give it a lot more RGB as well. So yeah, and those are relatively inexpensive.
They should make some RGB blanking plates for the rear panel.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
GPU, no RGB.
No RGB on the GPU. No, it's a Founders Edition top type of card. So yeah, they don't have any RGB on them.
Did you say the AIOs have RGB?
Yes, the AIOs both have RGB. So when this goes in for the review, that's obviously going to be matching, and also it's going to give us a readout of the sensors as well: CPU temperature, liquid temperature, fan speed, voltages, frequencies, all that kind of stuff, RAM load. So yeah, that's going to be a nice addition when we get round to doing that on probably Monday. And then also we'll be testing this one out as well. This is the Frozen Prism 240 in black from Thermaltake. I haven't priced out the build. I would be somewhat hesitant to do so because I think it's frighteningly expensive for what it is. Well, we just talk about the basics. It won't be exact prices because some of the stuff in here, like I said, the RAM, I probably wouldn't advise the RAM because it is quite expensive for what it is. But the case, you're looking about £100 with the fans. Power supply, you would say arguably around about 80. I should be writing this down.
Do you want me to add it on my computer?
Yeah, go on then. So £100 for the case, approximately. Around about £80 for the power supply. I think that's about 80, might be more, but 80 we'll say for argument's sake. Graphics card, somewhere in the region of about 450. The RAM, again, I wouldn't recommend this necessarily, but RAM, 32 gigs DDR5, 6000 mega transfers, you're looking at around about 120, maybe slightly less, maybe slightly more. The CPU cooler, we'll kind of leave that out for now. The motherboard is currently on sale for 160, I think. And the M.2 drive, you're looking at about £40. I think that is it, isn't it? Motherboard, oh, processor. The Ryzen 7 7700X. To be honest with you, again, I probably wouldn't advise getting that. I would rather get the 7700 non-X from AliExpress for about 160, 150. So add on another 150. What does that take us to?
What do you think?
So how much do you think? Let me know in the comments how much you think. I've just seen the screen and it is kind of what I thought it was going to be. So it's a fair amount of money. So actually with that price there, if you add on another £50 for the AIO, then add on £5 for Windows.
What about any storage?
Done storage, that was the M.2 for £40.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking about, well, has anyone guessed in there yet? So Andy Archer says 1100, and Nick Barnes says £1,000. It's a grand build lol, 900 plus at least, AIOs. Mookie MC says $920, Mark Barry says 900 quid, £1,000 is cheap. Well, just from what we've worked out there, where we could have made a few more savings, we come to £1,155. But I would argue that we actually, that's with the AIO. So ignore the cooler. So we've priced in the AIO for this, which realistically you would have. You wouldn't spend that sort of money on a build and not have some form of water cooling, I think. So yeah, £1,150 approximately. A lot of money. Let's turn it off. Let's pack it away before it gets dirty. I've got to sell this. I haven't, I'm joking. Although I should do something with it.
What's your opinion on Ocuno's case fans? Controller RGB remote.
I haven't, unless you've pronounced that wrong, I don't think I've ever heard of it. So you're all pretty, from a shop that would be 1,500 quid to 1,700 quid. Yeah, you're absolutely right, it would be. Brass says it was a 3060 Ti for $235, a good price. I'm honestly not too sure. At the moment, I think in the UK a 3060 Ti goes for about, I'm thinking £200. So $235 is probably not a million miles off, but sometimes you can get them a bit cheaper as well, like about $150. Honestly, I haven't seen pricing recently for 3060 Ti's. So I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, about £200 sounds about right. The 3060 Ti is still a really good card, although you get into this situation where you think, well, 3060 Ti, 8 gigs of RAM, it's fast, but it's going to lack RAM. Then you got the 3060 12 gig, which is a slower card, but it's got 12 gigs of RAM. So it's a really tough decision on which one you'd go for there. I think there would be people that would be tempted to go with the 12 gig 3060 if you could get it for a similar sort of money. So yeah, it's not a bad little PC. Again, it's these days you are going to be spending a lot of money for a decent gaming PC. And funny enough, someone actually messaged me this week wanting their kid wanted a gaming PC, and they've been saving up their pocket money and stuff. And they had I said like, well, I can do stuff for you. Let me know what your budget is. And they turned around and said like, well, they got about 200 quid. And it's like, seriously, 200 quid these days. It's not really anything you can do with 200 quid. You're lucky if you could even get a system with onboard graphics for that nowadays, because everything's just got so expensive. Oh, something I forgot to show you earlier, but I probably should show you now actually. The case, if you're interested, actually comes with optional panels as well. So if you don't like the glass on the front, you can swap it out for a mesh. And also the side panel, there's a replacement, so there is going to be a new Thermaltake LCD readout panel, which can be purchased separately to go in there. So you can get a readout of all the things like your GPU temps, your CPU temps, your frequencies, or just show cat gifs if you want to.
Well, we could have put, like, when the kittens were little, put them in the basement and just have their little faces sticking out there.
Yeah.
That'd be cute. Wouldn't fit now, would they?
They wouldn't. Right, let's pack all these bits away, because we are done. I can answer some of your questions and we can chat. Rasher says, Mike's Reboxing, the best reboxing channel on YouTube. Thank you. It's got to the point where actually learning to put things back in the boxes the way they come out, it is a little bit of an art form. There's some companies which make it a lot easier than others.
That's Candy, William.
Yeah, that's Candy chatting away. She's the vocal one.
She hollers.
She does holler.
She's so little, but her voice is so loud.
Right, I've got to try and pack this away under the desk now. This is, again, another reason why we've got such a tiny little house. And there's no room for stuff. Here's Candy. Hey, Babs, how you doing? Oh, I didn't put the GPU stands in after I spent all those hours printing those off. Typical. Right, I'll remind myself to do that at a later date. Hey, Candy. What's going on? That's a touch screen, not a claw screen.
Tap dancing lessons are paying off, aren't they, Candy?
She's done well. Where's he? William Bodie says the Gallagher brothers did come back. They've run out of money. Is that why? Yeah, I think Noel Gallagher had like a $20 million divorce settlement. So I don't think he's skint as such, but I think if you had a divorce and you lost that amount of money, you'd probably have some motivation to kind of get back in the saddle and try and recoup some of that.
What, make up with your brother in the meantime?
Yeah.
To do so.
Well, I think they did have that kind of ongoing feud, but I think most of the feud was probably just an excuse so they didn't have to get back together, because they didn't really need to, and they could go off and do their own things. And also, it's good, isn't it, to have that sort of feud in public, and then you can use that as a thing. It's like, oh my god, the feud's over, they're getting back together. Oh my god, this is amazing, buy some tickets quick. It's a very good sales pitch. It does, yeah. They're getting the band back together. Dude, oh, I can't reach that, I don't think. Yeah, I can. Bro says, so what do you think about the R5 3700 with the Wraith cooler for $93? I don't know, is that Canadian dollars or American dollars or Aussie dollars? It's always hard to work out pricing because I don't know necessarily where you are in the world, and obviously dollars have a different value depending on where you are. If it's American dollars, I don't necessarily think that's a bad deal, but I'm not too sure what the used prices are like. I watched Linus Tech Tips video, their Scrapyard Wars, and I kind of get a rough idea of pricing from them, but that's kind of Canadian dollars, so it's different again. So I'm not entirely sure, but it doesn't sound terrible. But then you've got things like the Ryzen 5 3600, which would probably give the 3700 a run for its money. You can buy those brand new for around about the £100 mark, I think, which might be about $120. So you're kind of getting close to that. Soulblaze says, I'm back. I had to take a call. No problem. Europa Empire of Roma says, I had an MSI, 7.5 years, never problems. Good. Rasher says they are reported to make 400 million. Well, good for them. The thing is, they put in the work, haven't they, in their early career to get the songs out there and to do what they did and did the touring and what have you. So yeah, if they can do some concerts and make 400 million, then that's great. Whether or not that is what they make and what they keep, that's another matter. So I'd imagine they'll probably, after all that, maybe, I don't know, 50 million each, if they're lucky.
Do you reckon they'll have
we'll see.
Oasis soup while they're on tour?
Yeah. Mookie MC says, who wants to start a feud with Mike just for the clicks and traffic? I can think of a couple of YouTubers who would love to do that. Although it's not really worth it, is it? Nick Barnes says, I hadn't realised Oasis were the Gallagher brothers. Hey, no worries.
Carl's off.
Night, Carl. Mark Berry says, the taxman will grab a big chunk. I would imagine that they've got a really good accountant and probably they've set up their bank and all that sort of stuff in like the Cayman Islands or some offshore account. They're not daft. I know technically that's tax evasion. If you deliberately set up a company in somewhere which isn't where you live or where you operate from, that can be classed as tax evasion.
So I expect they buy a house there,
But
don't
they probably buy a house wherever it is, yeah. And so yeah, we have a house there. That's why we've got a bank account there. Lifestyles of the rich and famous, eh? To be fair, I'm surprised they both lived as long as they have, because they were party animals. So fair play to them. Carl G says, Mikey's calf has been emotional. Take care. No worries. David Thompson says, I found a bootleg of the very first gig I ever went to in 1981. I can say quite honestly, I've never been to a gig in my entire life. I've never seen the appeal of live music. The only thing I think I would have liked to have been there, but only because it's like a one-time thing, would be Live Aid back in 1984. That I think would have been cool, just to say I was there. But I probably enjoyed it more watching it on the TV anyway. Tough Enough says, they're not daft, but they don't have to look dopey. That's a... yeah, I'd imagine their ex-wives probably agree, and their current wives probably disagree. O'Reilly says, you're not the only one, Mike. I have not been to a live music gig. Thing is, if I go anywhere, I like to know where the toilets are. It's nice to know where the toilets are so you can go for a pee. Rather than have to charge through like 40,000 people to get to a line of people pissing in a urinal. That doesn't sound like fun to me.
And use the bleach block for soap.
Yeah, they'd be like, what do you think of the gig? Well, I don't know. I spent most of it moved back to it because I was trying to find the exit so I can find the crapper. Mookie MC says, have you been happy with the cameras in studio, and are you still using the Elgato multi-input capture card? Yes, all of the above. The camera, the Lumix S5 II, has been it's been really good. It's my daily camera. I use it literally every day for videos. It's yeah, it's a very versatile workhorse, and it does work very well. And the Elgato card, other than the occasional blackout which we get, which I think is down to the power box down there, that's been pretty good. Even though that was an Amazon refurbished thing, which should have cost I think about £300, but it was on sale for like, I think it was like 120 or something stupid. And I thought at the time, even if one of the HDMI channels doesn't work, I've still got 3 other channels, so I'm never going to use all 4 together, although I did try using 3 together at one point and I didn't like it. But I got a feeling that was down to the motherboard, not down to the card. But it's pretty good. Rick says, I saw Deep Purple live in Arizona in 1976. I was 2 years old. Dukeman says, I'm a metalhead, so festivals are my thing. Cool.
Where Where did you buy the Superman logo? I saw that earlier, sorry.
Oh, someone asked where I bought the Superman logo. That came
I
from
can't remember what it was called now.
Geek.
There is a video on them.
Yeah, we did a video on them on the channel.
We were QVC back then.
And yeah, we were QVC. Like, all right, I bought it, got it. Oh, Soulblade. Mike, seriously, where did you get the Superman logo with LED light? I want to buy one. They were on offer from, I think it was geekstore.com. I think that's what it's called. If you look up Superman or lights on the channel, you should find it somewhere. Kath will see if she can find it. Yeah, they were $4.99, and at the time I bought 3. So I had a Batman one, I had a Stormtrooper one, which is still around somewhere, I think, and obviously the Superman logo. So it was a Stormtrooper head and the Batman logo. And yeah, they were great. All 3 of them for £15, and I think it was like $2.99 postage. But they were like reduced to clear. But yeah, they've been. Well, this thing's been here for so long; it's ridiculous. And it used to get really super hot, but it doesn't anymore because it is actually like a fluorescent tube.
What's it called? What's that kind of lighting around the outside called?
On there?
Yeah.
Fluorescent tube. Or neon.
Lamp. Let's put a lamp.
Might be under neon. I don't know. Kieran says, Mike, after the stream, Truck Fan is requesting you fix his permissions. He cannot comment in the live.
We haven't done anything.
I haven't done anything. I will check it out to see, Truck Fan, if there's anything there. Unless one of the other moderators banned you, but I don't think, if you're banned, I don't think you can do anything. But I will check. No worries. And go edu. Hey Mike, if you don't mind me asking, what do you think for the 8600G or 7600 and wait to get a GPU? I want max 60 FPS and Warzone. I wouldn't get an 8600G personally. If there's a chance that at some point you're going to get a GPU, don't get the 8600G. It is quite a cut down processor. The 7600 is a much better choice as a CPU. It has onboard graphics, but I don't know whether you'll get 60 FPS on Warzone with it. But yeah, I would just do whatever you can with it and wait to get a GPU. Or just get something really cheap and cheerful.
Neon, that's what I was looking for.
Neon. There we go. Well done, Kath.
I don't know how anyone finds our videos because we can never find them.
Bra says, would the Ryzen 5 7500F be a good CPU for a budget AM5 build? The thing, yeah, the trouble is, like, I was really keen to promote the 7500F, and I've had a couple of them. They work really well, and they're basically a 7600. But the thing is, there isn't really a cheap AM5 build. Well, there kind of is, but there isn't. So if you take into consideration, there's some things which you're not going to be able to change the price on, and that is mostly the RAM. The motherboards are starting to come down a little bit, but realistically, if you want a decent one or something half decent, you're going to be spending about 120 pounds ish for a micro ATX, or 150 for an ATX. So that's a kind of fixed cost. If you went down the AM4 route, you could probably do the same for about 60 to 100. So that's like a 50% saving almost. The processor itself, you can get some good deals at AliExpress, and I would certainly recommend checking those out before you buy anything from the UK at all. Although they are starting to get a bit closer, but certainly I would check out AliExpress first of all. But the RAM is the problem, because DDR5, the best deals are 32 gigs. And 32 gigs you are going to be paying at least 80 to 90 pounds for some pretty crap stuff, or about 100 to 140 for decent stuff, or good stuff. So when you're looking at 120 for a processor, 120 for a motherboard, 120 for the RAM, that's 360 quid already just for your platform. You've not bought a case, a power supply, or a graphics card, or a PSU. So trying to make a budget AM5 system is still like really difficult, and you can't really spend much less than 600 quid, which is that a budget system? When you could probably do the similar sort of thing with AM4 for about 450 to 500. So it's, yeah, the 7500F is the same really to some extent as what the 4100 is on the AM4 platform. It's like, great, you can get a 4100 4-core 8-thread processor for like 40 quid. That's great, but you've still then got to buy a motherboard, a case, power supply and your RAM. So you're not really making that saving because the core components are still going to cost you a load of money. So you're really wasting your money buying the cheap processor because you're putting it into a reasonably expensive platform. And if you buy in a reasonably expensive platform and put a crap CPU in it, if you're planning on selling it or something, people are going to say, well, why am I paying that amount of money for a low-end CPU? Makes no sense. So you struggle then, especially if you're trying to flip a system. It's just not going to happen. So hopefully that kind of makes some sense. That's my thought process behind it anyway. It's Black Friday soon, yeah. That is something to look forward to, hopefully. William Bodie says, I think Truck Fan was banned for floating the chat a lot. Was that like spamming?
I found it on there.
Ah, right, you found it?
Do it. Get.
Yeah.
Try it now.
Right, Truck Fan, you've been unbanned. So try it now. I'm not sure whether it works immediately, but try to refrain from spamming comments. Soulblade says, I don't think a lot of people need AM5 yet unless you are an editor. Even if you're an editor, you don't really need it. It's kind of like a nice to have, but you can, realistically, if you're a video editor, you could probably get by probably better using a Mac. Just get a Mac Mini or a MacBook Pro, which would probably be arguably better for the task. David Andrew says we can buy 8GB DDR5 Sims here in Oz for only 36 quid. That's 18 quid. Yeah, we don't have that over here yet. I did see some 8GB sticks recently, and I think they were still like 36 quid or something. So yeah, basically a direct equivalent from Aussie dollars. And they weren't particularly good. It was like 8GB sticks. They didn't have heat spreaders on them, so they were bare sticks. I'm pretty sure they were XMP only, and probably like 5200 mega transfers or 56 mega transfers, which isn't really good. And again, if you are buying them to put in a flip system, people will be looking at it and going, that doesn't sound great. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. That's for 18 quid, that's a cracking deal. So for 36 quid for a 16 gig kit, which is roughly what we pay here for DDR4. Europa says the 4060 Ti was so bad that they did upgrade the software on it now, and it's pretty good. The 4060 Ti was always an okay card. It just didn't make sense because it was too close in performance to the 3060 Ti for £100 extra, which made no sense at all. At the time, because they were both available as retail products, then it just made no sense whatsoever. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that about Intel and the regret factor. I'm not entirely sure that is quite as big of a deal as it has been made out to be. I know there are people that are affected by it, and some spectacularly, but in the same respect, there's a lot of people that have had problems with AMD systems. So, especially AM5 with its, well, if I had to tally up the amount of people that have had an AM5 system and have had to return a faulty AM5 motherboard, I would say there is probably like an 80-20 split percentage-wise for Intel for AMD. There's been a huge amount of AMD failures on boards, loads of them. Now, whether it's because more people are building AMD, that might come into it, but it does seem a lot more common that there are the AM5 boards, especially, have been very problematic. Much like the B550 Pro VDH Wi-Fi boards from MSI, the micro ATX boards. They were great. They were really cheap, and they're actually more expensive to buy now than they were when they came out. But they had a massively high failure rate at the beginning. Right. Well, Bra says, what do you think is the most I should spend on a Founders Edition 3060 Ti? I would say about 180 to 200 pounds, depending on the condition. That's what they were going for. We've had a lot of inflation since then, and they are still very popular. So probably around about, yeah, anywhere between 150 and 200 pounds. I think for that money, they're an absolute steal. Very powerful still. Nick Barnes, I would definitely buy a pre-used AM4 motherboard off Amazon, but AM5 could have bent pins and not be declared. Yeah, I think definitely that's a big issue with AM5, is the pins on the board. It is something which I do worry about a lot, which I probably shouldn't do, but there it is. Anyway, we've been going on for way too long, so we need to wrap this up. So I would like to say thank you to everyone who has contributed in the chat, and also financially, and also from being members and all that kind of usual stuff. You lot are what keep the channel going. I'm very hopeful that you've enjoyed tonight's stream and enjoyed taking a look at the Thermaltake Ceres 350MX. As you saw from the build video, no problems at all. Very easy to build in, worked like a charm. The only thing I would say which I didn't like was the RGB cable from the Thermaltake power supply, but I think that's a very minor quibble. Other than that, oh, and the Asus board not having a fan header at the top, which would have been very handy, but again, those are very, very minor things. I think overall the system's turned out very well. Hopefully you'll enjoy the review videos when we do the AIO reviews, the 280 and the 240. I'm actually really interested to see what the difference is going to be in terms of the temperature spread between like a 50 quid cooler and a £100 cooler. I don't think it's going to be twice as good. Actually, I could guarantee it's not going to be twice as good. Or will it? We will find out next week, hopefully. So, thanks again, all of you, for joining us. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And for those of you that are having Labour Day celebrations on Monday, hopefully you have a great restful day and enjoy yourselves. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. And hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. And now, I would have loved to be able to press my end stream button, but I get an exclamation mark because something's not gone right. So, I don't know what I've done there. I've done something wrong. I need to experiment and learn. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your weekend. See you next time. I've frozen.